For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Get bonus days to save during Window Nation's semi-annual sale now through June 30th. Get 50% off all windows along with no interest for 5 years, plus a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate at 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Rise and shine, honey. We don't want to miss our flight.
Our flight is in 7 hours. And we have TSA PreCheck with our Navy Federal flagship credit card.
TSA PreCheck. Getting my bugle through security will be so much easier now.
Learn how you can earn up to 3 times points on travel with the flagship credit card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
4th cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Effects of heat on your body are cumulative, and we'll continue to see that for the rest of the week. A high of 95 this afternoon. No rain today or tomorrow, just the heat. 74 overnight tonight. Tomorrow's high 100. It'll feel more like 105. The Weather Service may issue a heat advisory for us. Finally, Thursday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company. Where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones currently down 267 points at 39,134. Market update brought to you by Pure Hockey. Get ready to unleash your potential this season. Your Wake Forest Pure Hockey store has inventory of the top gear arriving from now through the end of the year. Pure Hockey, your ultimate hockey headquarters.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill with us once again, producing the show. And the Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup champions. Let's get the necessary. They earned it. Victor goes the spoils. The winners get to rewrite history. Yes, the Panthers did everything they needed to win. Nothing more, but everything they needed to win. Give them credit, give them credit, give them credit. Now, kind of stinks. After last year, the way last year ended, I would have said if the team came back like angry and ready to light something on fire, it would have been the Canes. Instead, the Panthers got all the way not only to the Stanley Cup final again, but were able to finish the deal last night, Game 7. Can we take out our vent? Right? Can we let a little air out of the balloon?
I'm always down to rant.
If we're nitpicking, Game 7 didn't live up to the series.
No.
It was competitive, right? It was close. It was a war of attrition is what it was. By the end, both teams were just gassed. If you watched the third period, you would have been like, I don't know. Is this an early season game where everyone's playing themselves into shape? Or is this Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals? Florida went to a prevent They went to a stall. They went to a hey, let's see if we can take the air out of the ball and just grind it way too early. Wait, they started showing all those graphics on the broadcast about haven't had a shot in this many minutes, and I'm going like, they're only up one. That's not that many. Edmonton completely ran out of gas. They stopped, it seemed like, shifting about halfway through the third period and just said, like, McDavid and Draisaitl, like, you're not coming out. And if they did for 20 seconds, and you're back out there.
Connor McDavid also, for as much as he played, pretty much non-existent for a majority of the game.
There was a play with, like, I think it was a minute and 10 seconds left, something under 2 minutes. And McDavid, you know, contact, whatever, went to a knee around center ice. And you could tell he did the thing that we all do, like when we're in the middle of conditioning and we go to, like, tie our shoe. And it just takes us a little bit longer to stand up because you like how the rest you're getting while you're down there on a knee. He just hung down there a little bit longer, and I went, oh, he's done. And I'm not saying this is a disrespect. I'm not saying this like, oh, Connor McDavid needs to be in better shape. I'm saying it like that 3-game comeback from down 0-3 to forcing Game 7 was just a Herculean effort from him and his team, and they just had absolutely nothing left.
Well, it's kind of like, and I know I'm making a comparison to two different sports, but when NC State played Purdue in the Final Four in the first couple of minutes, like you can just tell, like, oh, they're tired.
Like it's been a run. And they'd been getting by on adrenaline and smoke and mirrors, and they ran out of adrenaline. And the smoke and mirrors, Florida was able to smash. You know, there's a lot of talk about Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe. I think that's completely accurate. I think that's the way it went. Florida was the better team. Connor McDavid was the best player. There you go. But there's a lot of talk also about let's just get this out of the way. Greg Wyshynski on no issues with McDavid winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, which goes to the MVP or the best player in the playoffs, not necessarily the best player on the winning team.
I am completely fine with it. I find the controversy about him winning to be really silly. This is a guy who came within 5 points of tying Wayne Gretzky's record for the most points of any player in a single postseason. He came within 2 points of tying Gretzky's record for the most points in the Stanley Cup final. He passed Gretzky's record for the most assists in a single postseason. He was rewriting the record book while also willing his team to get further in the playoffs than he's ever gone, to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final. And there's criticism of the fact that he didn't have a point in Game 6 or Game 7, but if it wasn't for the fact that he had 4 points in back-to-back games, it wouldn't have even been in a Game 7. So I have absolutely no problem with McDavid winning MVP.
There's also some talk about him not coming out to get the trophy. I think he had probably sat down and took his skates off and was like, guys, I want to go get the trophy, but I can't feel my feet right now.
Yeah, he's just, kind of gassed.
And got an IV in his arm. He's slumped over, upset. Like I've got no problem with any of it. I think as far as the awards went, it went appropriately. From a Canes perspective, the Canes system can win the last game of the year. You just need the right guys. Here's what you need, right? Watching the Panthers and watching the Canes this postseason, and I said this, by the way, as soon as we started watching the Eastern Conference Finals, right? You're hate watching the Eastern Conference Finals because the Canes aren't in it. You're watching it almost to make yourself pay a penance or something. Watching the Eastern Conference Finals, I said the Panthers look a lot like the Canes. System, player buy-in, right? They seem to have a good culture. Paul Maurice. And the difference was two things. Panthers were about 15% more physical, and Bobrovsky. Though that was the difference for me. And it makes the 3 games Bobrovsky didn't play well, they lost. He came back, played well last night, made a couple circus saves. At one point didn't have his stick. He was falling over, but he was still keeping the puck out of the net. Bobrovsky and 15% more physical, that's the difference. So there's going to be a lot of offseason talk for the Canes. There already is a lot of offseason talk for the Canes. There's rumors out there. There's everything, right? Martin Necas this, Jake Gensel that. Who are you going to go get from other teams? Just talking with somebody, Elias Lindholm's name comes up. Dakota's name comes up. There's a lot of names that pop up. And I'm thinking, you know what they should prioritize? Or maybe not prioritize, but put on their wish list? little bit of physicality. You look at some of the guys on the Canes, I think they have the skill, right? They have the guys that can do the finesse stuff. I think you want to prioritize somebody that's willing to put some people in the boards. Just think about we saw it a few times from somebody like Svetch. There were like 4 or 5 games, even if it's just one shift, where Svetch reminded himself that he's a big, tall, strong, fast guy, and he was just going to mow people down, and he was going to stop skating around people and start skating through people, and the entire energy of the team changed. You can't put that all on Svetch because he's also a guy with some injury history, and you don't necessarily want him plowing through the middle of bigger defenders every single game. Bring in 3 or 4 guys that can do that. You saw it from, I think, Dmitry Orlov occasionally would try to go coast to coast where he'd, possess the puck back near his own end line and is just like, here we go, trains on the tracks, and he's coming flying down. And I think it energizes the team. You see that from the Panthers in a lot of ways. You see that from some of the teams that advanced further than the Canes. I think when you're mixing in the witch's potion of the players you're trying to add to the Canes, yeah, right-hand shot centered, a little sprinkle of that, right? Maybe a little bit more confidence in goal, a little bit more aggression, sprinkle in some of that. Put in a healthy dose of physicality in the recipe that you're looking for.
I know you just said that this proves that the Carolina Hurricanes style of play can work all the way to a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and the big emphasis of the Hurricanes style of play is establishing the forecheck. That's been kind of their DNA. My only question is, to go off of what you just mentioned, outside of guys like Svechnikov, Orlov, I'll even throw Jordan Martinook in there too.
Yep.
Do they have enough players to establish the forecheck in a Stanley Cup playoff type atmosphere?
They haven't yet, right? I mean, they haven't gotten far enough yet, and I don't think it's skill holding them back, right? I think they have plenty of the technical stick handling, shot ability, the system, as we just talked about, is proven to win. Maybe that's one of the things that's keeping this team from achieving their ultimate goal. It obviously works in the regular season, but in every sport, not just hockey, in every single sport that I've ever covered, played, watched, attended as a fan, attended as a media member, every single sport, it's more physical in the postseason, right? Refs let you play in the postseason. A little bit more goes in the postseason. Where have the Canes faltered over the last half decade? Postseason. Right? They've looked great in the regular season when everything ramps. So, yeah, maybe you do need just a few more physical dudes. You've got to shake everything up, just a little bit of physicality. And, obviously, and this goes without saying, but it's like, hey, make more shots in basketball or strike out more guys in baseball. Yeah, a little bit better play and goal, right? That's where the Bobrovsky of it comes. And I think Pyotr Kochetkov has an ability to make those little highlight dynamic, right, poke Chetkov. You give him a chance, and then you find a bit more physicality, I think that's enough to run it back with a different kind of enthusiasm next year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for the next question in our series of 99 questions about the college football season. Stick around.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
Alanis Morissette returns live in concert. The Triple Moon Tour 2024 with special guests Joan Jett and the Blackhearts and Morgan Wade. See them performing at Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh, June 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Alanis with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts and Morgan Wade. For more, visit alanis.com.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary. 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
Batter up! Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Duke University's Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, the film's original screenwriter Ron Shelton has adapted the story for the musical, so you can follow Crash Davis's Durham Bulls story and his romantic love triangle in a new genre. The perfect blend of comedy, drama, and steamy romance. Get your tickets for Bull Durham, a new musical, today. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
Lowe's knows owning a project means owning the right tools. And during Craftsman Days, you can save big on what you need from a brand you trust. Get a free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of the V20 string trimmer or leaf blower for only $99. Find these savings and more today. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/10 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Enjoy your summer even more by switching to Total by Verizon. Now you can get 50% off any unlimited data phone plan. That's one line for only $25 a month, and you keep the phone you love. Hurry! This is a limited time offer, so find a store or switch at totalbyverizon.com. Offer ends 7/31/24. Promo subject to cancellation after 12 months. Available exclusively online and in Total by Verizon stores. Requires a compatible unlocked device and SIM. See totalbyverizon.com for device compatibility and additional details. Taxes and fees may apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Every show leading up to the college football season, and it's getting closer and closer by the day. We're asking a question about the college football season. That way, by the time it gets to college football season, we've covered it from every angle and we're completely prepared. Teachers say that, right? Study a little bit every day, and then you don't have to cram the night before the test. We're trying to listen, finally. Darn sure didn't listen when I was in school. So we have 99 questions about the college football season. We're asking one per day leading up to the college football kickoff. Today, this is a very triangle basketball argument. I feel like this happens a lot where you're like, take the alumni from Duke and the alumni from UNC and who has the best NBA roster. And right, and for years and years and years and years, it was UNC, and now it's Duke. But we thought we'd do it for the NFL. And I thought we'd include NC State. So we're taking UNC, Duke, NC State. Not that particular order. Graham will pick the order. And we're discussing who has the best NFL roster. Who has the best group of alumni playing in the NFL right now. Graham, which team are we going with first?
Let's go with Duke.
Duke. Starting quarterback, Daniel Jones. Michael Carter, the other one. There's actually a Michael Carter both from UNC and Duke in the NFL right now.
That's right. Michael Carter, I believe, was the one that ran all over Miami in the U down game, as Carolina fans like to reference it.
Yes. So there's Michael Carter's a nickel with the Jets from Duke. There's Laken Tomlinson, who's been in the NFL forever as an offensive guard with Seattle now. He is like, a lot of what we're doing here, it's going to lead to recruiting, right? Because colleges want you to know that, regardless of NIL money you can make now, regardless of everything else, if you come to our school, you can make the real money, which comes when making it to the NFL, right? If somebody else offers you $10,000 more per year in NIL money, you come here, look at Laken Tomlinson. Look at Daniel Jones, who's making, $40 million a year. Look at Graham Barton, who was just drafted highly as an offensive center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's expected to start. Look at Noah Gray, tight end for Kansas City, who's having a heck of a time. But let's be real. The Jamison Crowders of the world, they're a bit few and far between for Duke. Have not been a hotbed, although Daniel Jones is I'm looking at this total. He might be never mind. There's one out there on some of the other teams that are making a lot of money as well. But hey, good for Duke having a starting quarterback in the NFL. Matter of fact, depending on who you think is the starting quarterback for New England, and depending on if you claim Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback for NC State, Duke may have more starting quarterbacks in the NFL than NC State. Where are we going next,
Whoa,
Graham?
That is a hot take.
Well, that's not
that's not too far off.
Well, I was going to say it's not like that's not an opinion based. If you have Jacoby Brissett as the starter of NC State, it's tied. And if you count Russell Wilson as an NC State starter, which we can go down that rabbit hole 100 different ways.
Yeah.
Then NC State they have two.
You can spend a whole hour of a radio show
Yes.
having that argument.
Maybe we'll do that in the middle of the offseason. But my point is, you could argue NC State has two. You could argue Drake May's the starter for New England and that Russell Wilson is not NC State, in which case Duke has one and NC State has none. I'm not saying where my opinion lies. That's just we're just counting. I just
realized current NFL quarterbacks. Okay.
I mean, if you want to throw in obviously Phillip Rivers, Roman Gabriel, Mike Glennon, we can go on, and Ryan Finley, we can go on and on. They have a lot of starters. It's just a little bit of a different beast. Jacoby Brissett at different points in his career has been a starter. Are we going UNC or Duke next? UNC or NC State next?
Let's go UNC.
UNC. I don't maybe it's a little bit of a reputation preceding them. I've always thought of UNC as they recruit highly, maybe underachieve a little bit in college, but then they crank out a lot of NFL players. There's a lot of individual talent. Looking at their current NFL roster, not as top heavy as you'd like. There's Drake May, who we're waiting to see. Somebody like Javonte Williams, Josh Downs, who I'm really excited about in Indy. Sam Howell has a chance maybe to do some things as a backup that could end up starting. Tez Walker, Miles Murphy, very young, but top to bottom, they don't have as much depth in the NFL as I'm used to seeing from NC State.
Yeah.
From UNC.
They've had their fair share of quarterbacks that have succeeded, as you just mentioned. Drake May. Well, we got to wait and see how Mitch
Trubisky's still in the league.
Mitch Trubisky, Marquise Williams too.
Yep. They've had some guys. It's just I always it's eventually you have to step back and think of your stereotypes and see if they're still true, right? Julius Peppers isn't walking through those doors anymore. There's a lot. Ronald Curry isn't walking through those doors anymore. There's a lot of guys that have done very well from UNC. It's just they're not as deep in the NFL as they have been in 10 years ago.
And it's kind of offensive player heavy, right? Along with Ryan Switzer, as you just mentioned, Michael Carter for the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm. But there's guys like Dre Bly. They've had some on the Julius Peppers. They've had some guys on the other side of the ball also. I was surprised in doing this exercise. And lastly, NC State. NC State wins in depth. I'll give you that much. They have starting defensive tackle for the Cardinals, Justin Jones. Ike Ekwonu, we'll see what he develops into, kind of a make-or-break year for the Panthers. B.J. Hill, starting interior defensive lineman for Cincy. Aleem McNeil, who's a stud for Detroit and getting paid like it. Joe Tooney, who's a stud on the offensive line for Kansas City and getting paid like it. Jacoby Myers. Bradley Chubb, talk about a stud getting paid for it. Making a lot of money with Miami. Garrett Bradbury's been making a lot of money as a center for a long time. Jacoby Brissett Peyton Wilson. You can go down the list to guys that Naheem Hines, Thayer Thomas. They've got some dudes.
Heck, you've interviewed half of their NFL roster on Pack Therapy this past football season.
I see. That's the thing. You would think half, but they're deep. We need to get back to work on Pack Therapy. See if we can't get more of these guys. So looking at it, I actually think, NC State's won, right? They have the Bradley Chubbs, the Aleem McNeils, the Jacoby Myers, the Joe Toonies. That makes it pretty obvious. And if you can't count Jacoby Brissett and Russell Wilson, then watch out as starters. Then watch out. Next up, I still think you go UNC with just a little bit more sizzle, and then Duke. But that last group is closer than I thought.
Yeah.
So I give the nod to UNC there, which I think will make up with UNC fans a little bit for the fact that I said Duke had the better NBA basketball roster right at the top and didn't even explain myself. So I'll give football to UNC, basketball to Duke, football really going to NC State, though.
That's fair.
I think that's fair, right? And by the way, there's no way I could list comprehensively everyone that's in the NFL for any of these teams. Because if you start looking at, late round draft picks and guys that are, third string, like these are power conference football teams. There's going to be guys, up and down the roster. So I could not list them all. I tried to pick a few of the highlights. I tried to tell the full story without bogging it down. Because, we could just turn this into, calling roll at the beginning of class and just go, Cedric Gray, just read names, but that's not a good segment.
Russell Wilson, it's either a Wolfpack or Badger. It can't
be pack of Badgers.
It can't be both. You got to choose one. We could have just done that.
I remember the first time, he was doing I forget which game it was, primetime game where you have to say, Joe Flacco, University of Delaware, and he said Russell Wilson, a whole pack of Badgers, and it was like
what?
Big news. No one that's not either from the Triangle or wherever was Madison, Wisconsin, understood what the heck he was doing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break. When we come back, who wants to give $650 million to a billionaire? City of Charlotte said, I do. Next.
Move your sports day forward.
We're not talking about a year here. We're talking about 10 days. This team is going to look different. You've heard the promos that we run for the show about how this team has played itself into more pay, how these players have played themselves into more pay, and what's fair and what's not. Just be prepared. The Eric Tulsky era is now upon us.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a walk-off grand slam or a base hit to center field, whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Hey, you love what you love. So save on your faves like the sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for just $2.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you're a veteran, listen up. Did you know that you can access up to 100% of your home's equity right now? You can do it with Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program. You can get 30, 50, 100 grand or more and use that money to pay off all those credit cards and personal loans, car loans, or maybe use the cash to do that home improvement project. Veterans love working with Loan Pronto because they make it easy. No junk fees, no hassle. They can unlock that cash in your home's equity in a matter of weeks. Don't keep paying insane rates on credit cards. cards, there's a smarter alternative with Loan Pronto. Get more info and start the process now at loanpronto.com. Or if your current VA loan rate is over 6.5%, Loan Pronto can get you in a streamlined refinance with a lower rate right now with no income verification and no appraisal. Lower your monthly payment big time. Loan Pronto makes it so easy for veterans. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Did somebody say free diamond bracelet? That's right. Diamonds Direct is expanding upon their best offer yet. Make any purchase this month and receive a free diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. That's right. Any engagement ring, any diamond necklace, any timepiece. Purchase any item valued at $10,000 or more and receive a stunning diamond tennis bracelet at no extra cost. Every purchase of $10,000 or more qualifies. So hurry into Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet ends June 30th. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Dauntless Transmissions has been the trusted transmission shop in Raleigh for more than 27 years. The experts at Dauntless Transmission are dauntless when it comes to caring for your vehicle. Whether that means a total transmission rebuild, complex engine or brake service, or just a routine tune-up, your vehicle will be dauntless when they're done with it. Visit DauntlessTransmissions.com. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
Dauntless is currently looking for skilled auto technicians to join the Dauntless team. Visit DauntlessTransmissions.com/careers to apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Carolina, North Carolina, the city of Charlotte have opened us up to one of the age-old professional sports debates. Should you give boatloads of money? Maybe what's bigger than a boatload? Yacht loads, ship loads.
A Titanic load.
A Titanic load of money to someone that already has more money than they could know what to do with. The city of Charlotte and the Charlotte City Council voted to approve. They agreed to give a billionaire hundreds of millions of dollars. Panthers owner David Tepper, who is worth roughly $20 billion, that's billion with a B, as in boatloads of money, will get $650 million in taxpayer money for renovations to the team's 29-year-old stadium after the Charlotte City Council voted 7-3 to approve the proposal on Monday night. As part of the agreement, Tepper will contribute $150 million. He will also be responsible for cost overruns. Doesn't it feel like giving David Tepper more money? It feels a bit like giving salt water to a deep-sea fisherman.
To me, it just feels like it's given him a lot more power than he already has.
Feels like giving ice to an Eskimo. Feels like giving sand to a beachgoer. Like you already have it. Why do you need ours? This is tough for me. It's tough for me because I see both sides. I can't help but think about what that $650 million could do in other ways, right? Think of all the other stuff you could do for $650 million. Think of just $650 super deserving people. I'm talking about like heroes. I'm talking about people that lay their lives on the line, city workers, something teachers, something military, something. You give 650 of them $1 million. Seems like that would be better than giving it someone that already has billions. Right? And I know those surface level thoughts, like I caution against just using that direct A to B, like, that money could be spent on blank, right? You can go do the whole, right? The thing you do when the Mega Millions gets over $1 billion and you start doing like, you could buy this many Corvettes, you could buy this many houses, you could buy this many Costco hot dogs, you could buy this many, and you just play that game. Yeah, $650 million is going to buy a lot of stuff. Could do a lot of good, right? Every time anyone drives over a pothole in Charlotte, guess what they're going to be thinking? Yeah, the money to fix this pothole probably went to David Tepper's pocket so he could build a better stadium. But you also got to know the way the world works. Keeps the Panthers in Charlotte? Is that a small price you pay for all of the good and all the economic benefit that comes with having massive NFL football games in Charlotte 8 or 9 times a year?
I mean, I don't know if the NFL is similar to the MLB Players Association, but there could be some sort of contract that says, the locker rooms have to meet this sort of standards. There have to be this amount of athletic trainers, this many weight room accommodations, because if we're being completely honest, that's one of the reasons why you're seeing minor league baseball die out so much here in the state of North Carolina.
Here's the thing, though. Like, there's no doubt that the $800 million was going to be spent, right? The Panthers, it's what, a 29-year-old stadium. Now that we know the new stadium isn't coming for 22 years, like there was an improvement that needed to happen. There was no doubt in my mind the $800 million was going to be spent. It was whose $800 million is it going to be?
Yeah.
Was it all Tepper's? Or was the city of Charlotte and the taxpayer going to give $650 million of it? That's what the proposal was on.
I mean, grand scheme of things, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. Obviously, Bank of America Stadium is used a lot more than just the home of the Carolina Panthers. You have the concerts. David Tepper will be the first one to tell you. You have Charlotte Football Club. You also have the Charlotte Sports Foundation with their contracts where the Duke Mayo Classic and the Duke's Mayo Bowl is hosted along with the ACC Championship. So the $650 million renovation is needed. But here's the only thing. The product on the field has to deliver a lot more now, in my opinion.
You've touched on one of my pet theories, but let me come back to that.
All right.
You don't want to play necessarily super hard ball with Tepper, and then only to have him pick up and go to San Antonio or go to I don't know, Toronto or one of these other places that is clamoring for a team. Because I don't think Tepper cares as much what everybody thinks about him. Right? Sure, if David Tepper were to pull the team and leave Charlotte, it would make him public enemy number 1 in North Carolina. But he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's like, you know what, public enemy number 1 is going to affect me. So you don't necessarily want, because part of me thinks that taxpayers and elected officials and Charlotte City Council members with votes should just look at him and say, no, pay for your own darn stadium. There was when Bill Simmons hosted a show on HBO, they had a commercial that was like, I believe the 86 Celtics are the best team ever, and I believe and I believe, and then the last one was, I believe billionaires should pay for their own bleeping stadiums, and it was like, ooh, edgy. But I do kind of believe that billionaires should pay for their own bleeping stadiums. I just don't know if it's worth planting your foot in the ground there and sticking to your guns if it means losing your team completely. Now we get to the pet theory. Right? Now, Graham talked about the on-field results. I've long said this. What you should do, and I don't know if a team would ever agree to this. I don't know if it's legal technically. But if I were one of those city council members, I would work my hardest to check out the legality of, can we put some kind of, you unlock more taxpayer funding, the better the team is. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna put $650 million aside, and you get $50 million for every 10-win season you get. Every playoff win, you get $200 million. Some way that you have to earn it to make sure that teams aren't using your taxpayer money as a cash cow for themselves without doing the thing that's going to energize the community. Because you can do that, right? David Tepper can take $650 million, throw in 150 of his own millions of dollars, and turn the Bank of America into a state-of-the-art stadium, and then not worry about winning football games and instead worry about bringing more and more concerts and just printing cash that way. So I'm going, no, I want some kind of commitment that you're going to do the thing, try to win every possible game, because you see it in baseball and it's disgusting where teams are like, we can't win, so we're just going to be as profitable as we can, and we're going to bleed and milk all of our fans out of every last dollar they have, and we're going to make money, and we're going to finish dead last. And that's what I would be cautioning against.
I love when you see a lot of sports teams do this every now and then, and I'm not trying to drag the Carolina Panthers through the mud when I give this example, but you'll see these sports organizations that care deeply about their fan base, and I believe the Carolina Panthers as a whole care about not just the state of North Carolina, but South Carolina. You have the whole One Carolina motto that they do. But you'll see where they'll put out these fan surveys where it's like, how can we accommodate the game day experience? What can we do to make the stadium better? And 9 times out of 10, when it's a situation like we saw last season, you'll just see option C or option D, make the team better. Because you'll see so many comments, especially in a situation like this, where players or fans would say, I'll sit in level 500. I don't care, underneath the broken, light shade or something, as long as the team's winning.
I just think it's like if you were to go to the taxpayers in Kansas City right now and say, would you mind shelling out a little bit extra of your tax money for a new stadium? They're going to be like, heck yeah, man. That team has brought me so much joy every Sunday. My kids are giant Patrick Mahomes fans. Andy Reid is a national treasure. Travis Kelce is great, right? Like, of course. But if you were to go to, I don't know, like the Falcons or something, I'm trying to think of a bad team, or a team that hasn't won in a billion trillion years.
Raiders.
Yeah, if you were to go to Vegas and say, like, hey, more money for Mark Davis, they'd be like, no. I haven't won a darn thing.
I mean, they just announced they're getting ready to do a luxury tailgate club that costs at least $2,000 before each game, and tickets aren't included. It's just if you want to go and tailgate inside with air conditioning, you can pay that much money.
So if we know that the teams that win a bunch have no problem raising money, and the teams that lose a bunch and no one wants to embrace them, I'd be like, yeah, we'll give you the money when you win. Right? Put a great team on the field. We'll make sure the fans are energized enough to give you the extra lights or the better seat backs or the more suites, luxury suites that you need. That's what I'm looking at. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, text keyword music, MUSIC, that's music, to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to I Prevail with Hailstorm and special guests Hollywood Undead and Fit for a King at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 9th. That is keyword music to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets. I was surprised by some news that came out of NC State basketball today. Inside Pack Sports, I believe, was on it first. But according to multiple of their sources, NC State guard MJ Rice and forward Ernest Ross are no longer with the team. Now, Ernest Ross is an unusual one because he was in the portal, then he pulled his name out of the portal to stay. But he didn't play a ton, was never really in the plans for a giant role. MJ Rice is going to have one of the weirdest flash-in-the-pan NC State basketball careers of all time. And yes, he came in with high expectations, and for a multitude of reasons, they never really added up. He had a big dunk in the David Thompson statue game. Right? They played at Reynolds. They unveiled the statue. It was his kind of first impact game, meaning MJ Rice's first impact game. David Thompson is in the stands. MJ Rice yammered and got an applause from the guy dunking on the statue outside. Mr. Thompson himself gave him the clap, and everyone was like, watch out now. MJ Rice is coming.
And it was even that point in the game where they had a pretty sizable lead against Maryland Eastern Shore. And it's one of those things where you can look at and say, did you really have to have a highlight dunk like that? But even he got approval by Kevin Keith saying, hey, man, when the GOAT is in attendance and you get a breakaway opportunity, you got to go for it.
And when you're a player coming off an injury and you have a chance to show everybody that your explosion is coming back and you have a chance to show everybody that you still got something, you do it, right? It's also a test for yourself, right, where you're seeing if you feel good. He ended up playing less than 10 games. Role never really expanded, and now he's no longer with the program. That's tough, right? The flash in the pan of it is there's really just that one memorable moment. But he was on a team that made it to the Final Four. So, right, at least his presence may have helped. He was on a team that made it to the Final Four. And actually that, I think, represents even a greater missed opportunity. MJ Rice was the 37th ranked recruit in the country coming out of high school, according to 247 Sports. He was a top 40 recruit in the country. Went to Kansas for a year, transferred to NC State. Dealt with an injury, and never, like I said, got to contribute. But they ended up 2 wins short of a national championship. They made it to the Final Four. They ended up 2 wins short of hoisting the national championship trophy, and they had a 37th overall recruit in the country that just for whatever reason couldn't put it together due to injury, opportunity, and the like. Doesn't that scream of like, man, if they woulda? Doesn't that scream of if only, if only? If only he could have put it together one time. If only the leg would have held up. If only. Maybe he could have been worth 2 more wins. Maybe he could have been a couple big shots in a momentum run against Purdue. Maybe he could have gotten Zach Edey in foul trouble. But what if, we'll never know.
I remember when we were doing Pat Therapy, we even talked about, because I remember MJ Rice and one other guy that was coming off of injury.
Cam Woods. He was coming out of being ineligible due to the double transfer rule, but yeah.
I remember we were saying, does Kevin Keatts go Jimmy V strategy and just kind of throw these guys in there just to be physical and pick up some fouls on Zach Edey just to give guys like DJ Burns some extra cushion on defending him?
Oh, okay. You're talking about that late. You're talking about the freshman who just became available after he was sick or something like that.
Yeah,
or something like that. But when I remember, speaking of Pack Therapy, the podcast, you can go find all of this on our YouTube page. There's all the archives. When MJ Rice and Cam Woods, who we're talking about, became eligible and healthy enough to play, I remember the big question was, how are they going to work into the rotation, and how many minutes were they going to get, and how many of this and how many of that. And at that point in the season, NC State had yet to hit their stride. And they didn't hit their stride until they were down 12 against Louisville in the first game of the ACC tournament. But there was for a while there where you thought MJ Rice coming back, where we thought MJ Rice coming back was going to kind of be the spark that unlocked their season, and it just, it never happened. And now, unfortunately, all good things, no matter the best intentions, they don't always end perfectly, right? Every transfer doesn't end up getting to hit the big shot. Every decision by a coach doesn't end up being perfect. So, he moves on with, I think one very, very memorable image, the dunk. One very, very strong run for the team through the Final Four, and a bunch of what ifs and if onlys, which is not how you want your season to end, career to end at his school. We'll see where he ends up, if he ends up anywhere. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Last thing here before the top of the hour, and we have plenty of time for it. I don't know why I said that. J.J. Redick had his intro presser yesterday as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And one thing you're going to get from J.J. is a younger feel. And I think what you're going to have is a lot of old-timers mad at J.J. quite a bit. Right? And that's not, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying it deserves to be this way or it doesn't. I'm not saying he holds no fault or he does. I'm just saying I think if you're somebody that grew up thinking like coaches wear ties on the sideline and they speak, they know every media member by name, I don't think JJ is going to be that dude. J.J. Redick was asked about squashing narratives about himself as the head coach of the Lakers, and I think you'll catch what I mean by his response.
What misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling?
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a Like, honestly, I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
Boom!
Wow, 2. Not just one, but 2.
Dropping a couple F-bombs. Boom! Is that unprofessional? Is that not how a coach of a esteemed organization like the Lakers should act?
He's gotten too used to doing podcasts. That's what happened.
I think that wasn't like, it's not that he casually used that word. I think it was intentional. I think he wants everybody to know. I'm like, players want to say that sometimes. They can't, right? Maybe LeBron can, and maybe he's dropped a curse word in there a time or two. But to me, J.J. Redick, the reason why you bring in J.J. Redick is because he's going to relate to the players, right? If you wanted to coach his coach, you would have hired somebody else. You brought in J.J. to relate to the players, right? He's the guy that hosted the podcast with LeBron. He's the guy who has the great relationship with Tyrese Halliburton because he went on his podcast a bunch of times. Like, he's the guy who you hired for that, to shake things up. Well, you can't hire somebody to shake things up and then get mad when it starts wobbling. You know what I mean? JJ was asked if he's going to continue his podcast. How funny would that be, right? Doug Gottlieb is doing this in college. Doug Gottlieb is the head coach of Green Bay and the college basketball team, and he's continuing his sports radio show in afternoons. Is JJ going to do the same? He was asked.
For the time being, and hopefully it's a very, very long time, I am excommunicated from the content space, so there would be no podcast. We'll do something when I have a breather from what we have coming up. I'm going to be drinking out of a fire hose for the next month, but at some point we'll just do something for all the people that listened, and we'll have a small little video. But I'm done with podcasting for now.
How disappointing! How funny would it be? Today's podcast. The reason why I couldn't play Austin Reeves in the fourth quarter because he was acting a fool in the third. Today's podcast. Why aren't these refs calling any fouls when LeBron drives to the bucket and he's getting hacked? After a word from our sponsors. How funny would that be? He's not going to need a podcast. Do you know why? He's going to have post-game press conferences.
I was going to say, he's going to create enough content himself with being mic'd up on the – because you know he'll be mic'd up for some of the big primetime games, and then you have the press conferences, the weekly pressers. It'll be fine. He can just he can just make a podcast out of all that.
He knows the media. Think of somebody that's had a crash course in the media as quickly as he has. He's done First Take with Stephen A., where he gets to argue about nonsense. He's done the studio shows. He's done college basketball. He's done NBA basketball as a color commentary. He's done long-form interviews on podcasts. He's done all the drafts and lists that you do on podcasts. He knows how to work the media. He's going to coach through the media. Right? He's going to say things that he wants his players to hear in the media. He's going to talk to other teams' players in the media through code and crypt and secret words and phrasing. Right? I'm not allowed to tamper, but we are looking for a 3-and-D wing with ties to blah, blah, blah. Like, he's going to use it. He's not going to be Greg Popovich. Right? He's not going to be, hey, Coach, thanks for joining us during this quarter break. DeJounte Murray, I don't know who's on. Victor Wembanyama is having a good first half. Yes, he is. Thank you. He's not going to do that. It's going to be, hey, LeBron and AD are getting it done in the first quarter. What did you see? And he's going to give you an answer, and it's going to be entertaining, and he's going to make it a thing. And if he needs somebody to hear something, he's going to make sure they hear it. And as always, anytime, like, you can just play the hits. And JJ did a little bit, right? Here he is talking about how badly he wants to win a championship.
I know what the expectations are, and the expectation is a championship. And so it's my job, it's our staff's job, it's Rob's job, it's all of us to deliver a championship caliber team. That's what I signed up for.
Yeah. Like I said, there's this might be the first guy. This guy might put my fake business out of business. I've long said, since I've been in media, that I'm missing out on $1 billion because I could be a what I would call the podium consultant, which would just be every time a player or coach has to go speak to the media, I should speak to them for 10 minutes beforehand. And because guess what? I know what questions they're going to ask. I know what the right answers are. I know what the very, very wrong answers are. Right? Common sense in a lot of ways is the answer. It's just to give them a heads up. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, they're going to ask you about being vice president. They're going to ask you about ayahuasca. They're going to ask you about darkness retreats. They're going to ask you about Garrett Wilson. They're going to ask you about Breece Hall. They're going to ask you about Green Bay and Jordan Love. Here are the answers that you should use that'll endear you to the crowd, will build your brand, and da-da-da-da. Like, I could do that in 10 minutes before every podium. J.J. Redick doesn't need it. Because JJ is going to go, yeah, here are the questions they're going to ask. I know. All right, thank you. Going back to his time at Duke, the guy's been in the spotlight. Heck, probably before that. You know, McDonald's All-American, all those sorts of things. He's been in the mix. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm in the mix with Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan. Just because rates might be up right now, okay, mortgage rates and interest rates, doesn't mean you should be paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs. Matter of fact, it's the reason why you shouldn't be paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs. They have something at Miller Lending called the no closing cost loan. What that means is no cash out of your pocket, right? You and even more so, you don't want to buy down your rate, because what a no closing cost loan gives you is the opportunity to be flexible, adaptable, and take advantage if and when rates drop. Sure, rates are high right now, like I said. If that's what you're thinking and that's scaring you away from getting a mortgage, think about it like this. Your mortgage payment, that monthly payment that they put in front of you when you get your mortgage, is not what you have to pay for the next 30 years every month. That's just your next payment, because if rates drop by next month, refinance. It'll cost you nothing, and those rates will come down, right? Or that payment will come down if rates drop. So go ahead and give them a call. They can explain it. They can walk you through it, make you understand it a little bit better. Just know you heard about it here first on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim, on The Drive. The phone number to call, 919-447-3377 for Miller Lending. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, football at 4. Stick around.
It's the summer of soccer.
Swiderski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Hit the line by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle sports leader.
Hey y'all, happy summer from Oak City Customs. We have a lot of cool things happening, including new offerings on custom sun sails, pergolas, outdoor tables and furnishings, raised garden beds, and so much more. All fully customizable and available in any size. We also are now hosting official shop tours for you to experience this unique fabrication process in person. Come visit us or check us out further at oakcitycustoms.com. We look forward to meeting you.
It's bow time. Listen up, because we've got some big news to share. You might want to sit down for this. Bow Sauce is back at Bojangles. If you think you missed it, just imagine how our Supremes must have felt. Because there's no better sauce to pair with our crispy golden chicken Supremes. They're already boldly seasoned to perfection, but add Bow Sauce and you can taste a truly legendary combination that will make you want to yell, it's bow time. So don't wait, grab a Supreme and dip into some Bow Sauce. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing to satisfy your craving for flavor with a Bojangles Chicken Supremes dinner. Choose a 3-piece or 4-piece Supremes dinner. Get your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea. And don't forget the sauce for dipping, because Bow Sauce is back. That's right, Bow Sauce is back. Hungry for flavor and value and love the Bow Sauce? then it's bow time.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan with Dr. Brenna Houlihan from Wake Med. She's here to educate us a little bit more on Men's Health Month. Now, we've been talking about colonoscopies and whether someone is considering or not to have colorectal cancer screenings because they're experiencing some irregular symptoms. What are those symptoms that people might see that you would recommend they seek care for?
So some of the symptoms you see is really just change in your bowel habits. You know, you go from being sort of regular one way, it gets skinnier, it changes in consistency. That's something to keep in mind, and as well as bleeding. However, most colon cancers are asymptomatic or without any symptoms for a very long time. So even if you're not having those symptoms, make sure you stay within those screening windows and make sure you're getting those screening colonoscopies, even if you don't have a single symptom.
Wow, really important to pay super close attention to certain things. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Houlihan. And if you have any questions or want to find a provider local to you, you can visit wakemed.org.
The Honda you want is here, so drive in the moment with the versatile CR-V or Accord, both named a Car and Driver 10 Best. And when you're driving a Honda, you're driving the brand named Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand for 2023.
Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer for a great deal today.
See dealer for financing details. Car and Driver December 2023 based on 2023 brand image words from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Get bonus days to save during Window Nation's semi-annual sale now through June 30th. Get 50% off all windows along with no interest for 5 years, plus a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate at 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Effects of heat on your body are cumulative, and we'll continue to see that for the rest of the week. A high of 95 this afternoon. No rain today or tomorrow, just the heat. 74 overnight tonight. Tomorrow's high 100. It'll feel more like 105. The Weather Service may issue a heat advisory for us. Finally, Thursday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 296 points at 39,114. Market update brought to you by Gregory Pool Equipment Company, hosting a hiring event at their Barrow Road location in Raleigh, July 13th from 9 to noon. Paid training and a generous benefit package. More info at gregorypool.com/careers. This hour of the drive brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on the drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. But before we get to Football at 4, we have a pretty sweet potential chance for you to win some tickets. Text POST, P-O-S-T, that's POST, to 919-860-5326 to enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Post Malone's F1 Trillion Tour at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on October 5th. Post Malone F1 Trillion Tour at Coastal Credit Union Music Park. If you want to go see it, you can win a pair of tickets. To enter for a chance to win that pair of tickets, text POST to 919-860-5326. You a Post Malone fan?
I am, but just to give everybody some clearance on this is a night that's going to be a tribute to country music, Post Malone. style. So
everyone's getting into country now.
You're not going to get vintage Post Malone of beer bongs and Bentleys.
I'm sure maybe a country version. He's not going to not play any of the hits.
I can't wait to hear White Iverson with a country twang.
With a little twang.
Country
Maybe a
twang
banjo.
to it.
No, but he's got songs with Blake Shelton now. He's got songs with
Morgan
Wallen. So he's got a little country bond. Everyone's getting into country now. But again, that's Post Malone to 919-860-5326. Fun fact about Post Malone. I think about Post Malone in planning this show way more often than I should. Because back when I was a producer, this is years ago, the host had some story he wanted to talk about with Post Malone. And I'm somebody that believes, you kind of stick to sports when you're doing a sports radio show. So I had no interest in doing this like tabloidy Post Malone story. So I kept fighting it off. I kept going like, oh man, no room for Post. We had too much other good content to get to. So it got to the point where like 2 weeks he had been trying to work it in and he couldn't. And it just became shorthand for us for if there was a story that we wanted to talk about and we just never had time for it for like a week, we would just call it the Post Malone story. So now every time there's like, we're actually about to talk about something, an article on ESPN.com about the Panthers that I wanted to talk about yesterday. Every time a story gets pushed to the next day, I go, Post Malone. So I think about Post all the time. Maybe I'll go see the concert.
There you go.
Text Post to 919-860-5326 to enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Post Malone's F1 Trillion Tour at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on October 5th. Now let's get into football at 4. ESPN put out an article. I have it right here in front of me. It's on ESPN.com. The headline is NFL surprise standout players at OTAs and spring minicamps. And they went through every single team in the NFL and gave one player that was a surprise standout. And the player they chose for the Panthers is a bit concerning. Ian Thomas, tight end, veteran tight end. The 2018 fourth rounder has stolen the spotlight, according to ESPN.com, at a position that is featured in Dave Canales' passing game. This is why that's concerning. You drafted a very, very good pass-catching tight end, and Ian Thomas was around last year. Last year, when the Panthers were one of the worst passing offenses in the league, when they were literally the worst team overall in the entire NFL, Ian Thomas was there. And guess how many catches Ian Thomas had last year? Keep thinking. I'm guessing the number is lower. 5. He had 5 catches last season. So now you're telling me he's standing out as a pass catcher? In this I'm reading directly from the article. In this tight end friendly scheme, he has become a big target at a position for which the Panthers ranked last in the NFL the past 4 seasons. Ian Thomas was a part of that. He was drafted in 2018. Jatavian Sanders should be the one standing out, and if he's not, you should be working with him so he can stand out. Jatavian Sanders was the first pick of the 4th round tight end with all the skill sets. What are we? Tommy Tremble should be getting those routes over Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas is a valuable member of the Panthers. I'm not saying he shouldn't be on the team. I'm not saying you cut him. I'm saying he's a blocking tight end. If he's standing out on your roster as a receiver, what does that say about your receiving tight ends? The Panthers have been dead last in tight end production the last 4 years. Not close to last, not near, dead last. He had 5 catches last year. Now suddenly he's Travis Kelce out there. He's Rob Gronkowski in the red zone. This is one of those deals where, like I'll use Drake May and Jacoby Brissett, right? Quarterbacks for the Patriots. Guess who's better right now? Jacoby Brissett, right? Jacoby Brissett's been around the block. He's started games in the NFL. He's played for this team and that team. And if you absolutely needed to win game 1, your life depended on it, you're going to play Jacoby Brissett every time. And if you needed the offense to look as good as it possibly can in OTAs and minicamps in June, you're going to play Jacoby Brissett every time. But you also have to recognize that Drake May's ceiling is so much higher, which is why you play him and feature him and let him make big plays and big mistakes in OTAs and minicamps. So hopefully, years down the road, he becomes like a great. He becomes a level of quarterback that you know is probably just above the potential of Jacoby Brissett. You can say the same thing about like any position. Right? If you just want to win practice, yeah, throw the ball to Ian Thomas. Because he's been in the NFL for the last 6 years, and he knows how it works. And he knows the intricacies of the game, and he knows how to compete against NFL-level defenses. But if you want the team to be as good as it can, feature Jatavian Sanders or even Tommy Tremble. Because those guys, once they learn, they could be even better. It's you know, if you're just looking for who's like the best, right, and you're going to feature them now, like, you know, every spring practice, the juniors and seniors would be doing everything in college. But it's actually the opposite. The freshmen and sophomores do because they have the most to learn. I don't want Ian, like, not because Ian Thomas can't make a catch. Ian Thomas can definitely, he's an NFL tight end. I know he can make a catch. I don't want him to be the standout performer, not because he can't stand out, but because I almost don't want him to be given the opportunity to stand out in OTAs and minicamps. Because you're too busy getting the other guys the reps they need to get to a level of experience that Ian Thomas is at. I guarantee you can go up and down that list, and maybe I should here. Let's get to some good teams. That's a funny one. Let's go to the basics. Let's go to the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs. Okay, come on. What are we doing here? Now my computer's gone haywire.
Travis Kelce. I mean, you're expecting him to be
I'm not expecting him to be the standout of OTAs and minicamps. I'm expecting him to borderline be off to the side, stretching during OTAs and minicamps.
Filming a State Farm commercial. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Like that's what I'm talking. Like, you don't want your veterans to be the standout in OTAs and minicamps. They've played in real games, right? They know how to get around. Oh, here's even better. The for the Chiefs, it's Nico Remigio. I don't even know who that is. Nico Remigio. Notice it's not Travis Kelce, Marquise Brown, Rashid. They're not like it's Nico Remigio. Ian Thomas, like a 6-year vet, should not be the guy standing out in OTAs and minicamps. He should be the guy teaching and passing along wisdom in OTAs and minicamps. That's my point. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about my friends at Capital Financial Advisory Group, including a game changer coming to life insurance, right? So often when we talk about Capital Financial and financial advisoring and everything else, advisoring, that's a word, I made it up. What we failed to acknowledge is you might be able to help yourself save for retirement with a new age, innovative life insurance policy. Get this. Coach tells me you could even use the death benefit to pay for any long-term care expenses, right? Long-term care is one of those things that can really bleed your retirement account dry. But if you use the death benefit from a new age, newfangled life insurance policy, you can pay for those long-term care expenses tax-free. It's one of the many benefits of the new generation of life insurance, and Coach Pete and the fiduciary planning team at Capital Financial can walk you through the best way to put your policy to work for you and your financial future. Right? Keep more of your money your money. It's always what you're trying to do. What are you waiting for? Call Coach Pete and his team today. Call right now, and Coach Pete will walk you through this whole process about the life insurance and hook you up with a copy of one of his best-selling books. Just be sure to tell him I sent you. Say you heard about it from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. Give him a call, 800-691-3211. Test these functions. B, balance. Do they have trouble walking? E, eyes. Are they having trouble seeing? F, face. Does their smile droop? A, arms. Ask the person to raise their arms and notice if one drifts down. S, speech. Is it slurred? And T, time. It is important. Call 911 and get to the hospital as quickly as you can. To check your stroke risk assessment, visit wakemed.org.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell has a great sense of timing, like bringing out Southern Blackberry Cobbler ice cream in time for summer. Rich ice cream with luscious blackberry flavor combined with flaky pie crust pieces and a blackberry swirl. The perfect summertime treat.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Walgreens and all Lowe's food stores.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah, crazy story. So I'm at the Nissan Thrill of Summer Sales event when Dave, the sales guy, asks, "Want to test drive the Rogue?" And I'm like, "Let's go." We're driving when Dave says, "Check out the VC turbo engine." I hit the gas and whoosh. I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't expecting that." Dave goes, "If you think that's cool, watch this." Dave shows me the miles per gallon and I'm like, "Whoa, that's pretty impressive fuel economy." Dave mentions, "These new cars are going fast." And in that moment, I had to have that Rogue. Crazy, right?
Wait till you hear how I got my Sentra.
Now get 2.9% APR financing for 60 months on Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city, 34 highway to 30 city, 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 2.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2024 Rogue in dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing is $17.92 per month per $1,000 financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and in-mat credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. N7824.
Did somebody say free diamond bracelet? That's right. Diamonds Direct is expanding upon their best offer yet. Make any purchase this month and receive a free diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. That's right. Any engagement ring, any diamond necklace, any timepiece. Purchase any item valued at $10,000 or more and receive a stunning diamond tennis bracelet at no extra cost. Every purchase of $10,000 or more qualifies. So hurry into Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet ends June 30th. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com. Ends 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
Now at Circle K, get 2 Mountain Dews for just $4. That's 2 Dews for just $4 at Circle K. Do the Dew.
Lowe's knows owning a project means owning the right tools. And during Craftsman Days, you can save big on what you need from a brand you trust. Get a free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of the V20 string trimmer or leaf blower for only $99. Find these savings and more today. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/10 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Cop or Drop, portion of the show where the producer, in this case Graham Hill, throws everything he can at me. We're talking predictions, guesses, ideas, questions, anything. And I tell him whether I am copping or dropping. You'll catch on. It's pretty easy. Graham, what do you have?
Let's go first with the Stanley Cup Finals last night. Of course, the Florida Panthers did defeat the Edmonton Oilers to claim Lord Stanley. But after 30 years of from what fans said, I'm just quoting them, failure and frustration, along with almost becoming a laughingstock to the Stanley Cup champions. Copper drop. Florida Panthers made themselves a prestige franchise last night in the NHL.
No, I don't think they're a prestige franchise. I mean, they're very good, don't get me wrong, and they're doing some good things. Prestige, I don't know, like, first of all, there's two things I think of when I think of prestige. The first is, have you seen the movie Step Brothers?
Yes.
Prestige worldwide.
There you go.
That's the first thing that pops into my head anytime anyone uses the word prestige. The second, like, it takes time, right? It's like you can't be a storied franchise. You can't be a prestige franchise unless you like. You got to have a history. You got to grow some roots, right? You got to be a little bit more entrenched. You know, like, I don't think Vegas is a prestige franchise, even though they've had a ton of success and they've made some moves. It's like, no, you got to. There's a time element there that I just don't think, as a successful franchise, Florida has yet.
Moving on. Big sports night last night, by the way, between the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Men's College World Series, and, of course,
a lot of pressure.
Monday Night Raw, Pat McAfee not even on commentary in his hometown. Interesting.
We can have a whole other conversation on why you included that in sports.
At last, Tennessee is on Rocky Top after winning its first Men's College World Series title, but considering they won 60 games this season, Copper drop. Is Tennessee the prestige college baseball program right now?
Again, it's a similar answer. It's one, right? It's their first one. They've won one college baseball World Series. To be a prestige, you gotta stack them up a little bit. So no, they're not. They're the best this year. Don't get me wrong. They're a juggernaut. They were the number one seed, backed it up in the postseason, beat the teams they had to beat along the way. I am like, this year, Tennessee is what everybody's chasing. But it's kind of like the example I always used was the defensive player of the year in the NFL doesn't always go to the best player. It goes to the player that had the best season, right? Or else Aaron Donald would have had like 10 years in the NFL, 10 defensive player of the year awards, right? But like TJ Watt had a better season, so he gets the award. Aaron Donald may have been a better player, TJ Watt had a better season. Tennessee had the best season. I don't know if they're like the best program yet. If they string a bunch of them together and they have a little bit more staying power, then we can talk about it. But I'm not willing to put them above some other more prestige programs yet.
Let's move into the NBA, and let's get a little spicy here with this question. Copper drop.
I like when you announce it as spicy. So now you've set the expectations and you have
now
to
I've
deliver.
Set the bar. Let's see. The Los Angeles Lakers will make the NBA playoffs next season under first-year head coach J.J. Redick.
Make the playoffs? Yes. Copping. I've said this before. If you have two of the if we say LeBron has really fallen off, he's a top 20 player in the NBA? If you have two of the top 20 players in the NBA, so many teams make the NBA postseason. Like, so many teams. The Lakers should make it. And I think they've underachieved the past few years. So, yes, I expect them to make the postseason. And you know what? If Dan Hurley was the coach, I would have expected them to make the postseason. And if a few others that were rumored, I would have expected them to make the postseason. That's not necessarily the biggest vote of confidence in brand new, fresh coach J.J. Redick. I just think with those two players and a few complementary pieces and a whole offseason of work they can do, they should.
Let's stay with the Los Angeles Lakers for just a little bit. Copper drop. The Lakers will draft Bronny James.
Drop. I think. By the way, Rich Paul, the Clutch Sports, it's Bron's agent, Bronny's agent. He's also Anthony Davis's agent. He's also Brandon Ingram's agent. I mean, he's maybe the most powerful non-team owner in sports, in basketball. Excuse me. He's talked about it. He said, we want Bronny Jr. to go to the right team. Right? I think one thing LeBron has done throughout his career, and you can love him or hate him for it, is he's directed his career, right? He's gone, hey, I want to leave Cleveland. I want to go to Miami. I want to go back. Now I want to go to L.A. Like, he recognizes that the situation matters, right? Even for him, who's the second best player of all time. For Bronny, you need to send him to the right spot. And I don't think that's necessarily on the team with his dad. So they're going to hand pick a location for him to go because they're that powerful, Big LeBron and Rich Paul. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be in L.A. I think, right, he played at USC, grew up in L.A. I think it's time to go. Like, if he caught on with, like, Memphis or something, he could develop a little bit more and maybe be outside the eye a little bit.
Let's go back to our conversations yesterday about college football, and we were discussing for our 9-9 questions, the toughest conference.
Mm-hmm.
Copper drop. Will the ACC have at least one team representing the college football playoffs this upcoming season?
Yeah, yes. I'll say yes. If you make me pick a team, that might be a little bit more difficult. But, yeah, I mean, I'm high on the ACC. I think they have a few different teams with pretty good talent, especially with the expanded postseason. There's going to be more opportunities.
Let's just go school by school. Thinking of some off the top of my head. Copper drop.
I have them scrolling over my shoulder if you're watching on our YouTube live stream.
There you go. Copper drop. Let's go with North Carolina, since they're in that order right now, going across your right shoulder. North Carolina has the easiest schedule this year in the triangle.
Ooh, we looked at this. I think we settled on Duke.
As the easiest or toughest?
Wait, and now I need to think what they have. It's definitely not, and like their in conference schedules aren't. Yeah, it might have been North Carolina. We did. You can go find it on YouTube. I don't know. I don't have the schedules memorized off the top of my head. I know that North Carolina has Minnesota non-conference and then not much.
UNC Charlotte, North Carolina Central, James Madison at home.
James Madison's a nice little trap game. NC State has Tennessee and then not much. And Duke really doesn't have a big quintessential non-conference opponent, right?
They have a little bit of a gauntlet that they have to run through in the back half of their season.
Fine. I'll say UNC is the easiest.
That kind of led me into my next one where I was going to ask you, Copper drop, Duke has the toughest football schedule out of the ACCs or out of the Triangle schools this year.
I don't think so. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm not going to bring them up here and have everybody listen to me Google, but for some reason Tennessee is a tough non-conference game. So I think that's actually what we settled on was Duke might have the tougher schedule, but NC State had a few more high-level kind of tough deals early in their season. So 6 to 1, half dozen the other there.
Copper drop. NC State football will go undefeated at home this year at Carter Finley Stadium.
They do have a very easy home schedule. That's not including because against Tennessee in the Duke's Mayo Classic, they are the home team, but it's in Charlotte. That's not including that. We're talking only games in Carter Finley?
Correct.
Then, yeah, I'll say that I'll cop them going undefeated.
And then one last time, going back to our conversation yesterday when we were discussing Nunu Concepcion. Coming to NC State. Copper drop. In the state of North Carolina, NC State football has won the recruiting category this offseason.
Ooh. See, I'd have to, I'm lean. Actually, what is it? Only 2 or 3 of their recruits that they have locked up. You're talking the 2025 class, the Nunu Concepcion class. So that's still under development. Right? That you can they're still accepting commitments, still recruiting out there.
I believe so far it's 8 from outside the state of North Carolina, 2 within state.
Yeah, so I don't think they're winning the in-state by any stretch there. I think they're recruiting very well, and they're recruiting positions that I wouldn't expect them to thrive at. But I mean, in order to win a state, North Carolina is a talent-rich state, right? There's I think around here there's a lot of talent. I think around Charlotte there's a lot of talent and a few other places. So in order to win the state, you have to have 5, 6 top guys. So no, they're not winning the state, at least not yet. Still plenty of time, and I'm sure they're out there recruiting, but not yet.
Can I throw the Carolina Hurricanes in for one? Just because
throw
my last
the Hurricanes for 10 if you
want. My last one's going to be the Carolina Panthers. So we'll go Copper drop for the Carolina Hurricanes. Martin Natchez will finalize a deal with the Vancouver Canucks very soon.
Well, first of all, he'd have to be traded there. So the Canes would be the ones agreeing on the deal. But he would have to agree probably to sign an extension in order for any of that to take place. I'm going to play the odds here. I'm going to play my gambling mind. We know over half, the reports are, Frank Saravalli, I believe, was the one on the report, that over half the league has reached out about Martin Natchez, which is an absurd amount of teams. So just to pick any one team and say that's where he's going to go feels like I'm not getting enough odds. So I'll drop it and just say, right, if 16, 17 teams have reached out about Martin Necas, would I take the one or would I take the 15 or 16 others? Give me the 15 or 16 others.
And then lastly, other pro sport in North Carolina or other pro sports team. As you know, the Charlotte City Council voted for the joint approval of the $800 million renovation.
Yes, I did.
For the Panthers that ties the NFL team to the city for the next 20 years. So, Tim, since David Tepper loves to talk about the concerts that he brings to Bank of America Stadium, Copper Drop, Taylor Swift will finally have a concert at Bank of America Stadium within the next 20 years.
There were so many questions that I thought could be coming over the next 20 years. How many playoff victories over the next 20 years? Will they win a Super Bowl in the next 20 years?
Will a Super Bowl come to Charlotte?
Yeah. Will a Super Bowl? Will, so many things. And then it went straight to the T-Swizzle.
Well, she's the major trend right now in the NFL outside of the actual on-field action, so to stay relevant.
Well, the Chiefs are coming to town, right?
Correct.
Do you count if she's in a box?
That's a good question.
If just her in attendance, does that count as a T-Swizzle concert? Does that count as her coming to Bank of America?
I don't know because
Is that a loophole? Did I just find a loophole?
You kind of did. I mean, they've had some big name artists. I mean, Morgan Wallen's getting ready to come. He's getting ready to do a stadium show there in July. They've had Kenny
I think she'll come for a concert at some point.
All right, so you're copping.
Yeah, I'm copying. It's money, right? And I know there's people in Carolina that are fans. She could go to any stadium. As long as it's big enough, prices will be high enough, she'll make a boatload of money. And that's what the whole thing's about. I can say I haven't, but my email address did wait in line for Taylor Swift tickets.
As did mine.
My brother
was
trying to get tickets for my sister-in-law for birthday or Christmas or something. And he wanted as many as possible, so he asked me if he could use my email, and I got selected.
Yep, I was a part of a similar text chain for my sister as far as, hey, I need everybody right now to go register for the queue for the Eras Tour. I didn't get selected. No,
I did.
Not.
And then I got offered more tickets because they said that they were doing an extra concert at the venue that they bought the tickets off mine. So I got an email saying, like, as a Taylor Swift super fan, you get first dibs on the extra concert that we're putting together. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. And I clicked no. And then everyone told me I was an idiot because what I should have done was just select yes, buy them, and then sell them for like 4 times as much.
So basically what I'm hearing, folks, is that Tim Donnelly is on the Taylor Swift newsletter for the Eras Tour.
Not anymore because I turned him down. I think if I would have said yes, I would have kept getting cool and cooler stuff from the Swizzleland, Swiftyland. But I said no, and I haven't really gotten anything since. An occasional spam, but that's about it.
All right, well, there you go. Well, that's about all I have for Copper Drop.
That's Copper Drop here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. By the way, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. We are live streaming there, but also it kind of works as our on-demand, right? We post a bunch of podcasts. We post a bunch of this show, The Adam Gold Show, the podcast, Panthers Playbook, Kane's Corner, Pack Therapy.
Next up. Which will be back tomorrow. Paul's been taking he's been on assignment for the past 2 days.
Yeah, but with Paul and Graham in the mornings, 9 to 10. So you can find a whole bunch of content on our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. Just please subscribe. That's my personal favor. When you're there, please subscribe so we can keep racking up numbers and we can keep doing some cool stuff for you. That being said, Storm Tracker. Nice. Well-timed, Graham. Storm Tracker, we come to Storm Tracker about this time every single day to hear the latest rumblings, news, rumors about the Canes offseason. I've dubbed it the offseason of change. New GM, already know who it is, Eric Tulsky. There's going to be at least probably 2 new top 6 forwards. There's going to be at least, I would say, probably 2 new defensemen, and maybe way more than that. So in the offseason of change, we look at the rumors every day. Graham, what are we looking at today?
Would a Patrick Laine trade make sense for the Carolina Hurricanes?
Say this again?
Would a Patrick Laine trade make sense for the Carolina Hurricanes? Patrick Laine currently plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's a 26-year-old Finnish sniper. He wants to move from Columbus, and at one point, Laine was one of those names that was always linked to the Carolina Hurricanes when this offseason began. He spent the past 4 seasons playing with the Blue Jackets and played in just 18 games this past season due to an injury.
You're talking about Laine, the winger?
Correct.
I have to be honest. If you're trading for Laine, it's got to be the Natchez trade, right? I don't particularly love trading a winger for a winger like 1-for-1, right? I think there's an opportunity for you to turn Martin Natchez into a second-line center, which I would love, or maybe a defenseman plus, where you get a defenseman plus somebody else that can contribute somewhere else. I'm not sure if Laine gets my juices flowing enough. I can bring up his stats here for a second. Didn't play much this year. He really hasn't played much the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Dealt with quite a few injuries, which I don't love.
Multiple injuries in Columbia's, with the most recent being a broken, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word, but it required surgery, and he's currently in the Player Association program, which he entered following that surgery, and he can't be moved unless he exits the program.
Yeah, so I just think there's too much red tape, too many hurdles to make it work. With as many teams that are interested in Martin Natchez, whatever trades you make should be, like, easy, right? It's I don't know why so much of it equates to, like, buying a house. And, sometimes if you're maybe stretching a little bit, right, you gotta go through a lot, right? It's like, well, contingent upon us being zoned for a pool in the back, and contingent upon the fireplace being judged as safe, and contingent upon blah, 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 then we'd like to make an offer. And then sometimes it's just like, yeah, everything's there. Looks like it's a new build. Here's our offer. Like if you have options, you want the smooth sailing one, right? Contingent upon us being able to sell our previous house and to get the proper financing and da. Sometimes you just want smooth sailing, right? You just accept the offer that appears like there's the least amount of hurdles. And I think that's what the Canes are looking for, right? Something a little smoother. Center for Martin Natchez. Defenseman plus a third-line winger for Martin Natchez. I think they're looking for something a little bit more simple.
And it just feels like with the injuries listed, I mean, there's injuries going back with his playing career all the way back to about 4 seasons ago.
The 2020-2021 season, he played one game. Did have 2 goals, which is kind of baller. Play 1 game, 2 goals. And then he got traded. Never mind. But, yeah, going back to the 2020-2021 season, which played for Winnipeg for a game and then Columbus, he hasn't played more than 56 games in a season.
I mean, going back to what I just read at the beginning of this, I was kind of surprised when it did say that he was always one of the names linked to the Carolina Hurricanes, and I'm kind of wondering myself.
Well, it's the dented can special, right? If you're or the clearance special, right? If you are trying to trade for somebody that you think can impact, you can get a cheaper price on a guy that's been banged up and been injured. You see that all the time, or somebody that hasn't performed well. So if you like his talent and you still think there's a 40-plus goal scorer
somewhere in there,
it's a calculated risk, right? It's, to use an example that everybody's going to go, why did you use that example? Christian McCaffrey, right? And I'm not saying he's the best running back in the league or the best winger in the league, but I'm saying if Christian McCaffrey was coming off 2 straight years where he played in every single game, or he played in all but 1 game, like he did for the Niners the past 2 years, Panthers probably could have got, first-round pick for him plus. But because he was coming off of a whole bunch of injuries, they got a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th when they traded him away. So, yeah, if there is something for, like, trying to trade for the guy that that's been hurt, I just don't think the Canes need it. I think the Canes need to raise the floor a little bit. And Martin Natchez is a good pick, right? You don't have to spend pennies. Like, he's top dollar. So if you're going to go trade Martin Natchez, bring something back that's top dollar also.
I also didn't know this was maybe Don Waddell trying to help out his former front office when he first got to
trying to
Columbus.
take advantage of it. Hey, Eric,
or that too.
The only reason you're in that seat is because I chose you to mentor and I made you my number 2. Probably your old boss a little bit of a little solid, huh? Why don't you go ahead and send us Natchez on the cheap?
I mean, you and I are both in agreement. I'm sure there was not a pamphlet left behind with the Don Waddell plan for Eric Tulsky when he, finally moved into his new office down the hallway.
No, I mean, I think Waddell is rooting for Tulsky in every game aside from the ones where they play. Like, you don't, it's people are still human. Like, I'm guessing they're still buddies. I'm sure, like, the tech, if they were to start a trade, or if Don Waddell were to reach out and be like, hey, what do you think of this guy? Their conversations would be different than with other GMs. They would probably genuinely, like, catch up on each other's family first and then go, all right, what do you actually call him for? And that's fine. I have no problem with that as long as you can delineate and you do draw a line in the conversation and go, all right, great, glad everyone's doing well. Now let's talk business. And you turn on your blockers and you go talk business. I don't think Don Waddell is, like, out to get Tulsky, but he may call in a favor.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant, for Eric Tulsky, especially in an offseason like this one, there really is no blueprint as far as how you handle or negotiate all this, except kind of the Knights of the Round Table, as Paul Ihander likes to use as an example on Next Up every morning.
Yeah, there's no blueprint, but there's never a blueprint. There's just ideas, right? Trust the numbers, trust your eyes, trust your scouts.
Can you make the math? Also another reference that Paul Ihander likes to throw out there.
The math ain't mathing. Yeah, so I'm fine with that. But no, I don't like that trade that you brought up originally at the beginning of Storm Tracker. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, it's time for a feedback frenzy. We hear from you and your comments online coming up next.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You could get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money out for that home improvement project. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, folks, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The Adam Gold Show.
They take out a guy who is unhittable, and before Edwin Diaz could throw a pitch, he gets ejected because, I don't know, he had maple syrup all over his hand.
Something questionable.
Right? Very questionable. Right? There's a reason why he was unhittable probably 2 years ago. So he tried to get away with it. It wasn't on his glove. It was on his hand.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's Men's Health Month. Time to check under the hood and take stock of some things, and to talk about some important topics like testicular and prostate health. About 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. In fact, it's the most common cancer in men behind skin cancer, and about 34,000 men die from prostate cancer each year in the United States. Don't become a statistic. Schedule your preventative screening today. Arise, the Urology Clinic for Men and Associated Urologists of Cary have got you covered. Our board-certified urologists can get you checked out and help with any urology-related conditions you may be dealing with, from low testosterone to kidney, prostate, and bladder functions, to name just a few. So make your appointment today at arisetheclinicformen.com. The best way to tackle preventable health problems is early detection and treatment, so don't ignore your health. Be proactive and schedule your screening today for you, for your family, for your future. Let's get this done at arisetheclinicformen.com.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Tar Heel Basement Systems. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at tarheelbasementsystems.com.
Picture this.
the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling. Better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
It's Bo time. Listen up, because we've got some big news to share. You might want to sit down for this. Bo Sauce is back at Bojangles. If you think you missed it, just imagine how our Supremes must have felt. Because there's no better sauce to pair with our crispy golden chicken Supremes. They're already boldly seasoned to perfection, but add Bo Sauce and you can taste a truly legendary combination that will make you want to yell, "It's Bo time." So don't wait. Grab a Supreme and dip into some Bo Sauce. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time. Time to stop whatever you're doing to satisfy your craving for flavor with a Bojangles Chicken Supremes dinner. Choose a 3-piece or 4-piece Supremes dinner. Get your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea. And don't forget the sauce for dipping, because Bo Sauce is back. That's right, Bo Sauce is back. Hungry for flavor and value and love the Bo Sauce? Then it's Bo time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. See, earlier today I asked you to subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. And here's part of the perks with subscribing to our YouTube is you get our videos, you consume the content, and then you comment. And then once you comment, you might hear them on Feedback Frenzy, right? Graham perused our YouTube looking for the best comments, the most impactful ones, the most cutting ones, the most
meaningful ones,
correct ones, the most meaningful ones, the most outlandish ones,
most hurtful ones,
whatever it is. And he brings them up here during Feedback Frenzy, and we react. Graham, what do you got?
So last week when we were discussing Bryce Young and Xavier Legette having to build chemistry this postseason, but before the regular season, let's see here, I need my readers. Not really. Jim Stocker, 6135. Breaking
Shout out,
news.
Jim.
First-round pick, wide receiver, and starting quarterback need to build chemistry to succeed. LOL. Scrapping the bottom of the barrel for this one. Wow, Jim.
How about this? Number 1 overall pick quarterback should be able to find pretty good chemistry with anybody. How about this? In order for a number 1 overall pick quarterback who's thrown to top 10 picks, who's thrown to 100 catch receivers, who's been in the NFL for a year now, saying he needs to get used to the ability of a wide receiver to get in and out of breaks quickly says something about that player's ability to get in and out of breaks. Like, yeah, they have to build chemistry, but also he didn't just say we have to build chemistry. He said I have to get used to and listed a bunch of things that Xavier Legette was able to do. It's not outlandish to think that quarterbacks and wide receivers in the NFL should be able to execute certain things pretty quickly, right? You might trade for somebody mid-season. Like, you should be able to execute certain things very quickly. Unless that person is truly different, in which case it might take a minute.
I don't know, maybe we should just discuss if Xavier Legette's hamstring injury is pretty severe right now, and that's why he's not at minicamp. Oh, wait.
You know how I feel about that.
We did that too. It's the summer, guys. Come on. All right, moving on. This was after the second episode of Panthers Blueprint release, where you got to get the curtain pulled back a little bit and see behind the scenes of draft night. And at Retro Boomin', which I'm very fond of that name, I don't know if it's the editing or what, but after watching episode 2, I'm starting to believe again. That's dangerous, Retro.
Well, yeah, I mean, believing in the Panthers is believing in the Panthers, and you do so at your own risk. And by the way, I agree that episode 2, if you don't know what the Blueprint is a Panthers media produce, so it's produced by the team. Behind the scenes look at their offseason. So it's kind of like a Hard Knocks-ish, but it's produced by the team. I will say episode 2 did make me feel more optimistic than episode 1. Episode 1 felt very surface level. Episode 2 showed some true behind-the-scenes stuff that
you saw below the iceberg or the tip of the iceberg.
That I was happy for. But, and I said this when we talked about it originally, and I'll say this every time we talk about it, take it with a grain of salt. It's, as I've been saying, state-owned propaganda, right? It is very much like the Panthers aren't going to show the bad stuff.
Yeah, they're going to only highlight the best.
If Dave Canales and Dan Morgan started yelling at each other and challenged each other to an arm wrestle, we're not going to see that. We're only going to see the good stuff. So that's kind of where I'm gonna leave that. You get as excited as you want. Getting excited about the Panthers is kind of, that's like I said, do so at your own risk. But I get what you're saying about episode 2. I'm hearing what you're saying and agreeing with you.
Our next one comes from you and Dennis's 99 questions, countdown to the college football season, discussions that you guys have been doing every day around 3:15 here on the Drive with Tim Donnelly. When you guys are talking about will NC State or UNC football have the most success long term, these Tigers 74-93 brought up an interesting point. I want to get your thoughts on it. UNC hasn't won an ACC football championship since 1980. NC State since 1979, approaching 50 years since for both. Maybe if Florida State and Clemson are successful, maybe Florida State and Clemson are successful in leaving the ACC.
Oh, so he's saying, like, if you can't beat them, let them leave to go to the SEC and then beat everybody else?
Sure.
Would I argue that it would be an easier path to winning the ACC if Clemson and Florida State were not in the conference? Yes. Done. I'm not going to be the one sitting here, trying to lie to you. But I also don't think that's necessarily. Clemson, Dabo's got a weird thing going with this transfer. Like he does not take transfers. It's a strange beast. And if he continues to die on that hill, I think that's going to make Clemson more and more vulnerable.
Kind of gets in his own way.
And we've seen Florida State until like the last 2 years be not very good. I think there's opportunities. I don't think they need Florida State and Clemson to leave. I think there's certain things they need to do better. Like if I were running NC State and UNC, I would have done things differently over the last 50 years. But I don't think they need him to leave. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not foolish, right? Take away any team out of the ACC, that's another competitor you don't have to beat. And if you take away Clemson and replace them with, like, Memphis, yeah, your chances are going to be better of winning.
Our next feedback frenzy comes from the conversation you had with newly appointed Carolina Hurricanes general manager Eric Tulsky. If you missed that conversation, you can check it out on 999 The Fans YouTube channel. This is not a direct quote from me again. This is during our segment Feedback Frenzy. So I want to make sure that everybody in their car is hearing this, especially if
This comes from a listener on YouTube.
This comes from a listener, not from Graham Hill producing, if there's anybody from the Carolina Hurricanes front office listening. This comes from White GD 4100, actually. Natchez is so full of himself. Why would you want him on your roster? He's a second, third-line winger, not a first-line center. If he wants to get paid like that, see ya.
Well, because here's why you would. Here's the entire game, okay? The entire game is the Carolina Hurricanes don't have a lot of avenues, a lot of tools to improve their roster, right? All you have is players that are commanding larger and larger salaries because you're playing well, and that's what happens. When teams play well, their players become more valuable. So you have a salary cap that's restricting you. And because you're playing well, you're not going to be drafting in the top 5 ever, right? So you're going to have a late first-round draft pick when you have your pick. And Martin Natchez is a player who the league sees as talented. So you need to play that chess piece appropriately to bring back something that is going to make your team better. If he goes and signs an offer sheet, the draft picks that he would bring back don't help you right now to win right now. So if you're Eric Tulsky, you are smart to do what he did on our show, which is to say, if anyone signs an offer sheet, we're matching it. Because that discourages them from signing an offer sheet and allows you to play your chess pieces more freely. You can hate Martin Natchez. You can think the number one thing we have to do is trade Martin Natchez. But you can't say that out loud because that makes you lose all of your leverage on trading Martin Necas. Then everybody will just wait you out and make you pay nothing for him. So maybe they're thinking the way you're thinking, right? Maybe what was the commenter's name?
YGD 4100.
Maybe they're thinking the same way YGD is thinking and saying, like, we need to get him out of here. But you can't say that, right? He's one of the pieces you can use to get better, and you don't want to waste that.
Time for one more?
One more, last one.
In relation to your conversation about Jim Phillips will fight for the ACC, Jay Stokes 5916 said the ACC is always 2 steps behind other conferences. It was basketball focused for years, and that has come back to bite them in the behind. Now it's football powers, and others want to leave, and when they do, there goes the ACC. It will be relegated to a group of 5 conference. Wow.
So you're saying when they added Miami and Virginia Tech, that was because of the storied basketball programs at Miami and Virginia Tech? Or were they the first of the big conferences to start expanding in that way to make sure they had a football foothold? At different times, I will say, I'm not disagreeing with you as of late. I think they've been extremely reactionary. The ACC has been extremely reactionary the past decade. But there was a time before that when it felt like they were on the cusp. They've lacked recently, but they haven't always been that way, right? You don't bring in a school like Virginia Tech because you're like, we want to remain on top in basketball, right? You don't bring in a school like Miami or a school like Florida State when they did because of basketball. You brought those in for football. That much is pretty obvious. Same is true for a school like maybe Louisville? I don't know. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Want to tell you about what's going on over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Get ready for a night full of big fights and big action. Talking UFC 303, and it can be even bigger for you. Jump in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. The light heavyweight title is on the line in the main event, but there are so many more amazing matchups happening in Vegas, and you can check them all out within your DraftKings Sportsbook app and all the different props and bets and money lines you can bet on. Speaking of amazing, which all of that is, if you're new to DraftKings, I have something else for you. Listen up. New customers, bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code TIMD, that's T-I-M-D with no spaces. Code TIMD for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. $5, not $5. That's a strange one. You're going to have to bet dollars. When you bet $5, new customers will get $150 in bonus bets. Get that big fight feel only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. How about that one? That's a misspeak that doesn't happen often. That's like when you're trying to say a bad word and you get auto-corrected to ducks. You know what I'm talking about? We've all been there. Gambling problem, call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at dkng.co/MMA. We'll take a break. When we come back, more of the drive, including the starting 5. Stick around.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan. It's Men's Health Month, and WakeMed Heart and Vascular would like to remind you that stress and anger can have negative effect on your body, and if continued over time, can cause major problems like headache, upset stomach, insomnia, high blood pressure, and maybe even a heart attack or stroke. So take a time out, relax, take a deep breath, and walk it off. Manage your stress, and your heart will thank you. Learn more about caring for your heart at wakemed.org.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Today, we are at Holly Springs High School, and we're here to celebrate the next Scholar Athlete of the Month, Emma Pancunis.
She's a really great teammate. She's always looking out for everybody on the team and is a great leader. She's willing to set up her teammates for success and just puts herself in the position to help everybody out, and it's been really cool.
Emma is all in. She has been since the first day I met her freshman year.
My community is everything to me. So being able to kind of reach out and get back in these different areas and to people that have had such a big impact on me is just something that's rewarding in itself. I'm someone who have always prioritized my academics, and athletically, once I set those goals for myself, it became a big priority in my life. So to be able to maintain what I want and have those goals set makes it really easy to kind of focus on what's important. I've had so many people, not even just teammates, but throughout my club, throughout my high school experience, including my parents, that it's just everyone is pushing me to be as successful as I can be. And when I have so many people that are driving me and trying to keep me on track, that it just makes it easy to do it myself. And it makes it so much easier where you're not also trying to be successful for myself, but I'm trying to be successful for those people as well.
Congratulations, Emma.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have recognized scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew, 30 seconds, that's it. Done. Peace.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are you looking for a place to take the whole family? Somewhere affordable that provides a ton of entertainment and good food? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. You can get all that and more at Durham Bulls Athletic Park. They have something for every member of the family. Let the kids play in Woolly World and meet Woolly Bull, and the adults can grab a tasty craft beer. Plus, you don't want to miss their unbeatable fireworks shows. Go to durhambulls.com/tickets or call 919-956-BULL today.
The Honda you want is here. Now's the perfect time to drive in the moment with the rugged and capable Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot. Find your adventure with great offers now available on the Honda you want. And when you're driving a Honda, you're driving the brand named Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand for 2023.
Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer for a great deal today.
See dealer for financing details based on 2023 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Mostly clear, very warm tonight, the low 74. A hotter day for your Wednesday, mostly sunny skies. Small chance for an isolated storm, the high up to 100. Thunderstorms more likely on Thursday, 94.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day down 299 points at 39,112. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The starting five with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We have a lot to get to, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here, Graham. Number one, I'm changing, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Uh-oh.
So we're
Calling it audible.
We're going to have a brand new number one that not even Graham knows about. But that's not where we start. When we start with the starting five powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers, we start with number 5. So go to Brian.com. That's right. GotBrian.com. Go to GotBrian.com. That's right. GotBrian.com for Ritchie Law Firm, who presents the starting 5, and we start with number 5. Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup. A little bit of bite there, right? A little bit of anger, a little bit of, obviously a season ago, the Canes and the Panthers were so close to each other. If you watched that sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals, you know there wasn't a huge difference. So to see them level up to being a Stanley Cup winner while the Canes leveled down to being a second-round exit, there's some jealousy, some animosity, some bitterness there.
But there's a little bit of happiness just because of Paul Maurice's former coaching ties with the Carolina Hurricanes. That's a little bit of a silver lining. I also am just a absolute sucker for finally winning a championship, guys that have tried for a long time. Even, did you see Kachuk's dad? Yeah.
Keith Kachuk, who played in 1 billion games, scored 1 billion goals, is, top 100 in NHL history and a whole bunch of stats. Watching his son win the cup, you could tell he was jacked up. Paul Maurice winning, like those moments of like cathartic release afterwards was pretty fun. And that happens for every championship. I'm a sucker for it. Here's Paul Maurice after winning the cup.
I've never hugged so many sweaty men in my entire life. I'm not sure I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it tonight. So, you know what? It's not what I thought it would be. It's so much better, but it's the hugs, man. I saw Sam Bennett smile today. First time in 2 years. It's brilliant. It's for my mom and dad in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. My brothers, Mike and Shane, in Sault Ste. Marie and Waterloo. The whole Langlois clan in LaSalle, Ontario. All of the people that suffered through 30 years of me losing, making excuses. Mom and dad especially. Hey, Dad, your name's going up with your heroes. Belleville, Richard, Hal, Lindsay, Maurice.
I mean, those aren't the only names. There's a few others that are also up there. But yes, though they will be on the same cup.
That was pretty powerful, that music, that instrumental in the background, and then the speech at the very end, and then he left it finally off with Maurice.
The line that he had about like whispering to the cup, did you see that one?
No, I did not see that.
When he first got his hands on the cup, he
whispered sweet nothing
pretty
into
much
each other's
like
ear.
pretty I'm trying to think, like a fisherman that finally reeled in the big fish after like a nice fight, and they've been fishing that pond for years and years, and he just let him, like, you could tell he was saying like, why are you so darn difficult to get, but you're mine now. Like it was like I said, I'm a sucker for dreams coming true.
Did the Stanley Cup social media account post one last farewell from last night?
We should look into it.
I'm sure they probably said something like "see you next year." But going back to the Florida Panthers,
like I'm heading to Florida.
Going back to the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup, did it feel like that maybe they played just a lot more free last night because they knew like that was it?
The Panthers? No, I actually think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is just me observing, watching the game. This isn't coming from like a post-game interview or anything. I think the last like 15 minutes of of game time, they played wildly tight. It felt like they were
the bus.
Like there wasn't a single second that ticked off the clock that the entire bench of Florida wasn't watching. Like 14:47, 14:46, 14:45. Like I thought they played very tight down the stretch.
I mean, when Rodriguez scored that power play goal, just 4 minutes into the game, I'm sure they would have loved to have just sat on that for another
dunzo.
Second and third period. But then Edmonton countered like 2 minutes later, and then it forced them to score another goal.
I thought they played very, very tight. But it worked, right? It's like Everyone always makes fun of football teams when they play prevent defense and then the other team scores. And it's like, oh, you took your foot off the gas. No one ever talks about when you play prevent defense and, like, swat down a pass and win the game.
Yeah.
It's like that happens sometimes too, and that happened for the Panthers.
Tony Gibson special.
Yeah. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the Four Horsemen. Woo!
The brand new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, former Duke star J.J. Redick, had his introductory press conference yesterday, and he did not hold back with his language. Here's one interaction between the media and J.J.
What misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling?
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
Spicy JJ in LA.
It also, I do think he understands. And I'm not saying that's the right way to go about it, right? I can probably say if I were ever named an NBA head coach, I'd keep the language clean for my introductory press conference. That's just how I would do it. About 10 years in front of a microphone like this one, and I'm pretty good at being able to turn on and off the bad language. And now I have a 3-year-old at home, so I really have to be good at turning on and off the bad language because he mimics everything I say. So I'd switch it off if I were doing it. But I do think JJ, he's a thinker, man. He thinks, have you listened to his podcast? The guy is a basketball nerd. He overthinks everything. I think he probably wanted to squash that question as quickly and as obviously as possible. He does not want questions about him, right? He doesn't want to be up there after playing the Wizards in 6 months and have to say, well, yeah, when I played against the University of Maryland in that region of the country, they used to chant bleep you, JJ, and I've been waiting to get back at them ever since. He doesn't want to have those conversations, so he's going to make it very obvious, and the way he chose to do that was with a little bad language. Again, I think there's other ways to do it, but that is a way to do it, and I think he planned on it. It's like this. You go into certain introductory press conference, and I'm going to relate this back to Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Canes, who is just named and had his introductory press conference last week. There were some questions Eric Tulsky answered, and you could tell they were asked, and he answered like it was a conversation, right? Just like, hey, you asked the question, cool. Then there were questions that he knew were coming, and he had a plan, right? The one question that he knew was coming was, your background is extremely analytic. The numbers, you're a chemist. Does this show a sway in the franchise's priorities towards analytics-based decisions? And you could tell that was a question he had an intentional answer for.
We didn't hire ChatGPT.
He said, we did not hire ChatGPT to be our GM. Then he knew the numbers. There are 10 other GMs in the NHL that did not play in the league and 4 others that don't have any elite prospects profile. And he went on and on. He had that readily available. That was an intentional answer. He wanted to loudly say, I'm not just a numbers guy. Just because I have a numbers background doesn't mean I'm a one-trick pony. To me, that answer from J.J. Redick, as much as it's like he didn't genuinely not have an answer. He had the answer. He knew what his answer was going to be, and it was I don't give a bleep. Right? What he isn't is an extremely good actor. Don't give him an Oscar for it. Right? Because the question finished, and he didn't go I don't think I have a good answer for you. Because that's what you do when you don't have an answer to a question that you just heard. You think, you go, And then you go, actually, you know what? I don't give a bleep. He didn't do that. He went I'm sorry, I did. Ask me a question, any question.
Tim Donnelly, what are your preparations for the show tomorrow? How do you look to improve?
I don't have an answer to that. I don't give a bleep. That's not – I didn't actually think about what question you were asking, right? I knew it was coming. I anticipated it. It's not an accident. That's what I'm saying. That wasn't a genuine response. There was the message he was saying, and the nonverbal message he was trying to communicate. It was intentional.
He just knows in 20 years from now, when the next Showtime special rolls around for the Los Angeles Lakers, that they'll have a great opening scene with his inner. I'm just kidding.
That's definitely a meme, by the way.
I think
people are going to be sending that in group chats where it's like, hey, can you golf tomorrow? I don't know, man. I got to check with the wife. I have to I might have to drop the kid off at soccer practice, and I also have to mow the lawn. You know you're getting JJ Redick. I don't give a bleep. Coming right back from your friend that asked you to golf.
You know it's going. Do you think a little bit, too, is just some player talk? Like how he's kind of expecting to not address the team, but
I think it's more you ready for a movie reference? You've seen Mean Girls?
Where is this going?
You know, I'm a cool mom. I think it's probably more of that, right? Like,
I'm a cool coach.
I'm a cool coach. I curse like the players do in the locker room. I'm a cool coach. And it's like, no, you can be a coach for a little, like, even the cool coach is still a coach, right? Don't try to, I'm a cool coach. Haha. Did you see I said the F word? I'm a cool coach. Like, that's not going to do it.
I wish everybody in their cars could just see kind of the motion you were doing.
A little wiggle. There's a little wiggle there. Got to come with some attitude. For Duke fans, we'll just give you a little bit of a Duke-on-Duke conversation. Here's J.J. Redick talking about Coach K's role throughout the process as he was a consultant for the Lakers.
Coach has, since 2004, has had a great relationship with the Lakers and the Buss family. He was very complimentary of the organization. And he was very helpful throughout this process. It started, I didn't know Coach had like Google alerts, or I don't know how he gets his news, but I guess somebody tipped him off that, I was potentially interviewing for Charlotte. So I was literally flying back from a game and landed at LaGuardia, and we talked for 30 minutes that night. Ultimately did not do the full interview there and kind of put that coaching thing on pause. And then this opened up, and Coach throughout the process was very helpful in terms of just me navigating the interview process. Coach was great. There's one person in my life that I played for that I call Coach, and that's Coach K. Like, he's still that to me.
So what do you call Doc Rivers? Doc? What do you call Stan Van Gundy? SVG? Or that annoying guy that made me run all that stuff. Anyway, the drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
Some might say that the NHL hockey season just ended. Stanley Cup final game 7 last night. Others might say the NHL season just started.
Yep.
We're talking about next year, baby.
September 24th, actually.
You can sleep when you're dead. The Canes preseason schedule came out today.
Yeah, it did.
We got at Tampa Bay September 24th, home versus Florida September 27th, at Florida September 28th. So a little bit of mixing it up with the Stanley Cup champ early on in the running. There's Nashville. There's more games. They announced it. There's no rest for the weary. September's not that far away. September, I still consider like early football season.
Yeah.
Football season's creeping up on us.
That's like week 3, week 4.
So you got early football season, preseason hockey games getting ready to get going. Canes, learn what you can, flush it, move on to the next. Preseason's always fun, though.
But also get your roster in order.
Sure.
Question mark?
They have the guys that'll be playing in preseason. It'll be Bradley Nadeau, the first-round pick from last year. It'll be Jackson Blake.
Preseason, they might still be making moves.
It'll be Scott Morrow. The other guys, they'll just be getting a nice sweat in, right? They'll be getting a nice lather, and then maybe a morning skate, and then they'll be watching. I think it'll be big for Pyotr Kochetkov.
Yeah.
Just establish himself as the guy, right? Like when the starters rest, he rests, rather than he was always out there with the second unit in the preseason a season ago. So it's good just to get him. I think they need to get him feeling like a number 1 goalie.
September 24th. I can't believe it.
September 20th. It's June, July, August. So we're 3 months. Is that all we're looking at?
Yeah. I mean, whenever the preseason schedule always comes out, it's really just like, all right, well, here we go.
3 months.
Except I just never think there's been this much uncertainty counting down to the first preseason.
Well, the good
game.
news is, like, 3 months is both no time and a lot of time. Eric Tulsky has plenty of time to work the magic to get the lineup where they want it. Just for a fan base that, the season just ended, it feels like, oh, good. It's like have you ever been to an amusement park where there are lines, but they're short?
Yeah.
And you're just like, you get off the roller coaster and you look at each other like, you want to get back on again? And you just go get right back in the short line. That's what it feels like. You got off the roller coaster, you're like, whoa. You want to get back on? We got to wait 3 months, but you want to get back on? You're darn right. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
MJ Rice no longer with NC State. The official, I believe it was Inside Pack Sports had it first, but multiple sources close to the situation, this is from Inside Pack Sport. NC State guard MJ Rice and forward Ernest Ross are no longer with the team. Ernest Ross is a loss. That's a bummer. He was not a main contributor, but a vibes guy. Was actually in the portal, pulled his name out to stay at State, and now it appears he's not with the team. MJ Rice is an interesting one. Maybe I was foolishly holding on to, like, he can still be healthy and be a main contributor this year. The hard part is, and this is where you have to look into, like, what the situation is. We'll probably never know. We're not in the locker room. But he's going to have to get a waiver to play next year because the transfer portal window has closed. So he can't enter into the transfer portal. And this also messes with the scholarships a little bit. So NC State now can potentially go find another transfer who entered into the portal a while ago. But you'd like to see, like, when MJ Rice committed, it was big news.
Yeah.
He was a big-time recruit coming from Kansas. He was one of the guys that was supposed to replace the Terquavian Smiths, the Jerkel Joyners, and it just never really materialized. And now, due to, again, situation we don't know the details of, kind of puts everyone in an awkward situation because of the point in the calendar that it happened.
This also comes after they just get another commitment yesterday out of the transfer portal. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was that they
Canadian,
grabbed.
right, or a French guy?
Something like that. But, yeah, I mean, the most interesting man in the world, the most interesting man in Raleigh as far as MJ Rice's career with NC State basketball. With everything you just mentioned, coming from Kansas, being a part of a national championship team, feeling like you were going to easily transition from losing to Quavion Smith and Jarkill Joyner and have him to go to, and then he didn't get his first action in a game until the Heritage game against Maryland Eastern Shore on David Thompson night.
You want to get to the surprise number 1?
Am I ready for it?
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go to number 1. I am wildly frustrated. The results for the 2024 induction class into the NHL Hall of Fame have come out. And guess who is not on the 2024 induction list?
Oh, I believe it might be Roderick.
The Hockey Hall of Fame 2024 class does not include Rod Brindamore. This is absurd. I don't completely get it. There's Jeremy Roenick, there's Shea Weber, there's Pavel Datsyuk, there's no Rod Brindamore. And I can't decide whether I want to hit you with like a disappointed, like if I want to look at the voters and hit you with I'm not even mad, I'm disappointed. You didn't live up to your responsibilities. We trusted you with an important job, and you came so far below our expectations. I don't know if I want to go that route or if I want to go fire and brimstone and say, how in the world does the captain of a cup team with 2 Selke trophies that played in the league for however many decades, that was one of the best players in the league forever, that wasn't necessarily even known as like the massive goal scorer, yet finished with 452 of them things, that has 1,184 points? How does he not go into the Hall of Fame? Somebody like Jeremy Roenick, who, I get it, maybe was a little bit better for the media, right? Maybe is better on a podcast. But guess what? The stats don't lie. Shout out to Ryan Henkel for putting these together. Jeremy Roenick, 513 goals. Rod Brindamore, 452. Jeremy Roenick, 1,216 points. Rod Brindamore, 1,184. Sure, Roenick had a few more of each, but guess what Rod Brindamore has? 2 Selkies. He was the best defensive forward in the NHL for a period of time while also putting up darn near Jeremy Roenick totals. And Jeremy Roenick was just I'm going to get mine guy, right? He's not winning Stanley Cups. He was just I'm going to go score a bunch guy. What are we doing here? And oh, by the way, he's now become and I know it's play, you go in as a player and all those other things. The impact on the game, the quality, like Rod Brindamore is a Hall of Famer. He's just not in the Hall of Fame. And every year you have the chance to rectify that. You have a chance to put him in. And when you pass on that chance, you're doing something that is hurting the game. If there's one thing that like fries my brain, it's how poorly Hall of Fames are run. And guess what? It's not that hard. The obvious need to be in. Or if they're not, it actually robs away from the legitimacy of your Hall of Fame. It makes everyone that is in there feel watered down. If you don't have Rod Brint, like what's the stupid thing that everybody says? Like, do you know ball? Right? Like, oh, if you know who you pick a player is, like, you know ball. If you think, OG Anunoby is a really good player, you know ball. I guess if you know puck, you know Rod Brindamore should be in, right? That's just a fact. If you know hockey, you know Rod Brindamore is a Hall of Famer. So by not having Rod Brindamore in your Hall of Fame, you're telling us the Hall of Fame doesn't know hockey. And there's you can go back, I'm actually a little upset with myself because of what I did to Jeremy Roenick. You can go find individual players that are in the Hall of Fame that are not as good as Rod Brindamore, and you can yell and scream about them, but now you're just making us be mean to Hall of Famers. Because Jeremy Roenick's a Hall of Famer. Like, let's be real. He deserves to be in also. But because Rod Brindamore is not in, you made me point out that Roenick isn't as good. You're discrediting the Hall of Fame. I have so many theories about how Hall of Fame would run better. You know what every Hall of Fame should have? Tiers. Every Hall of Fame, like the physical Hall of Fame, should be 5 stories tall. And the top floor should be the penthouse Hall of Famers. Gretzky, right? Or Howe, Hasek. Like put just the best of the best up there. 2nd tier, 3rd tier. And that way, if you want to squeeze in a guy who everybody liked but wasn't that great, put him on the entry level, right? Rod Brindamore is not an entry-level Hall of Famer. If you had a 5-tier Hall of Fame, he's not on the first floor. He's probably not on the top floor. We can debate 2, 3, or 4, but he's like a solid Hall of Famer. Yet, he's not in the Hall of Fame. And the 2024 class came out of inductees, and he's not on it. Don't love it. Don't love it one bit. What's the line from the end of Remember the Titans? You're a Hall of Famer in my book. Rod, you're a Hall of Famer in my book. Tim Donnelly here, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about what's going on over at Window Nation. Window Nation is simply window experts. Doesn't that make you feel good, right? One time I was driving around. This is a true story. And it actually happened like 20, 30 years ago now. Maybe not 30, 25 years ago now. But I remember it, and I'll never forget it. My mom was driving me to an away game for some youth sport. And I looked out the window, and I saw a combo restaurant. There wasn't a combo restaurant, a combo store. You know what it was? Hair salon and bakery. And you know what I thought of? I bet you those pastries taste like hairspray. I'm like, that doesn't sound like two things that should be in the same room. Sometimes you just want somebody that does one thing great, right? Window Nation, they do windows. They're window experts. They have a bunch of different styles of windows. They use the best quality. They use the best materials. Justin came into my house and he demonstrated all of it. Justin, one of the representatives of Window Nation, gave me the in-home consultation. He showed it all. But the thing I loved is he didn't walk into my house to show me windows and go, oh, we can do floors too. Look at this. This carpet needs to be replaced. And oh, look at that. How old is that? How old is that oven? Yeah, we could put in ovens, countertops too, because I don't want that. I want somebody that does windows to do my windows. They're experts at windows. I don't want a business card that says I'll make you pastries and I'll do your hair. I want a business card that says if you need new windows, we're great at doing windows. Window Nation is extending its semi-annual sale. 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years, and an additional bonus if you schedule an appointment this week. And the appointment is just for a free, no-obligation consultation and demonstration. No obligation and completely no cost to you. So if you schedule that this week, you get an additional bonus on top of 50% off all window styles and 0 interest for 5 years. To schedule, it's easy. There's 2 ways to do it. You can call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. Or you can visit windownation.com to schedule. That's windownation.com to schedule. We also need some numbers game contestants. Today we are giving away Sebastian Maniscalco tickets. He's coming to PNC Arena on Friday, July 12th. I had somebody on Twitter yesterday say they were big Sebastian Maniscalco fans, tried to call in to play the numbers game, didn't get through. Well, here's your chance. We need 2 more contestants, and the same prize, Sebastian Maniscalco tickets, the stand-up comedian. If you want to win, you got to play. If you want to play, you got to call in. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Dave Doran and the NC State Wolfpack have somehow turned their buzz, turned their sizzle into an offensive version of that. For so long, it's been winning with defense. It's been Tony Gibson, their defensive coordinator, Peyton Wilson. Well, now they can't turn away wide receivers and running backs from the recruiting and transfer portal. Maybe it's a new Dave Doran. Maybe offense first.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hey John, why so glum?
I just got let go.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money, your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Are you looking for a place to take the whole family? Somewhere affordable that provides a ton of entertainment and good food? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. You can get all that and more at Durham Bulls Athletic Park. They have something for every member of the family. Let the kids play in Woolly World and meet Woolly Bull, and the adults can grab a tasty craft beer. Plus, you don't want to miss their unbeatable fireworks shows. Go to durhambulls.com/tickets or call 919-956-BULL today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. To let you behind the scenes here, we are updating the... There we go. We have enough to... Oh, wait, we need one more. Hold on.
Tim, while you do that, can I go ahead and say what's on the line today for the numbers game?
Sure.
Sebastian Maniscalco tickets at PNC Arena on Friday, July 12th. Sebastian Maniscalco, not to be confused with Mike Maniscalco, Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes, but instead, worldwide comedian Sebastian Maniscalco coming to PNC Arena on Friday, July 12th. Competing for the numbers game today, we have Frank from Clayton and Tim in Raleigh, not Tim Donnelly that's sitting in the studio. We'll see if Tim Donnelly is ready to go with.
All right, I think we're ready. We are ready.
We stalled long enough.
Ready enough. All right, so this is the way it's going to work. We have to ask a question of the contestants to see who gets to go first. Excuse me. Contestants are Frank in Clayton and Tim in Raleigh. We'll start with Frank. We'll ask the same question we did yesterday. Frank, if you are starting a band, you are one of the founding members, and you get to pick the name. What are you naming your band?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. I just caught on. You've been talking about something beforehand. So I would say, oh, my gosh, the Barnstormers.
The Barnstormers.
Okay.
Hey, it doesn't have to be all the most meaningful thing in the world or clever. The Barnstormers from Frank. We go to Tim and Raleigh. Tim and Raleigh, same question to you. If you are the founding member of a band and you got to name it, what are you naming it?
PBR, the Preferred Band of Raleigh.
Preferred Band of Raleigh. Graham, you get to pick which one goes first based on their answers.
Not because it's one of my favorite beverage, but I just like how he was able to take the initials, PBR, Preferred Band of Raleigh. I'm going to have to go with Tim.
All right. Tim, you get to go first. The categories you get to choose from are NFL local ties. These are, by the way, we only have two categories for today. NFL local ties, all players with some connection locally, and NFL grab bag, which would be a random assortment of NFL players.
Let's do the local ties.
All right, local ties. The way this works, I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Is this college jersey number, NFL jersey number?
So this will be their NFL jersey number for the team that I say. Okay, so if I So, it's if they basically that's the way it works. So if I were to say Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers, you would say number 1 because that's the number he wore for the Panthers. Does that make sense?
Not number 2. Gotcha.
Not number 2. Gotcha. Graham, you ready to roll? All right. Any last second questions, Tim, before we get started?
Ready to roll.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jacoby Brissett, New England Patriots.
5.
Incorrect. Mitch Trubisky, Chicago Bears.
2.
Incorrect. Jacoby Brissett, New England Patriots.
12.
Correct. Mike Glennon, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
10.
Incorrect. Mitch Trubisky, Chicago Bears.
8.
Incorrect. Mike Glennon, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
8.
Correct. Sam Howell, Washington Commanders.
10.
You were close. At one point, you had 8 for Trubisky and 10 for Mike Glennon, but it's actually 8 for Mike Glennon, which you did end up getting, and 10 for Trubisky with the Pats. So that's one that you missed, or sorry, with the Bears. So that's one that you missed. And Sam Howell with the Commanders, for those playing at home, were number 14. All of those players, by the way, played their college ball right here in the Triangle. Now we have the next contestant. Next up is Frank and Clayton. Frank, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
The category you have is NFL grab bag. These are just kind of a random assortment of NFL players. It's the only category we have left. So you'll have 30 seconds on the clock. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. You have 1 pass if you need it. You need to get 3 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir. We're good.
All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Jacoby Myers, New England Patriots.
14.
Incorrect. A.J. Dillon, Green Bay Packers.
81.
Incorrect. Jacoby Myers, New England Patriots.
Pass.
Rob Gronkowski, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
87.
Correct. Kamu Grugier-Hill, Carolina Panthers.
Who?
Kamu Grugier-Hill, Carolina Panthers.
20.
Incorrect. A.J. Dillon, Green Bay Packers.
42.
Grab bag gave you a tough run. Jacoby Myers, you were close with the first guess when you said 14. He wore number 16 with the Patriots. A.J. Dillon with the Packers, the running back, wears a traditional running back number 28. You got Gronk with 87. Kamu Grugier-Hill, the local guy, Panthers, wore number 54. Unfortunately, that is not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
It was good. It was the first loss. First L on the board.
First L. But at least you now know that if you ever start a band, you're rolling with the Barnstormers.
You got that right. So,
appreciate it. That brings us to Tim and Raleigh. Tim, congratulations. You're the winner.
Thank you very much.
You get the gift card to see, or the 2 tickets to see Sebastian Maniscalco, PNC Arena, Friday, July 12th.
Bang, bang.
There you go. Enjoy it. There's some info Graham needs to get from you, so sit on the line for a second. But congratulations once again.
Cause chaos.
There you go. There you go. We got to figure out what the next hashtag is going to be for the Canes next year. Right? They change it up most years, right? It's not going to be cause chaos again. What could they be causing? We'll have to wait around to find out. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's talk USA. Olympic trials coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
They take out a guy who is unhittable, and before Edwin Diaz could throw a pitch, he gets ejected because, I don't know, he had maple syrup all over his hand.
Something questionable.
Right? Very questionable. Right. There's a reason why he was unhittable probably 2 years ago. So he tried to get away with it. It wasn't on his glove. It was on his hand.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Hey, you love what you love. So save on your faves, like a sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for just $2.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Did somebody say free diamond bracelet? That's right. Diamonds Direct is expanding upon their best offer yet. Make any purchase this month and receive a free diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. That's right. Any engagement ring, any diamond necklace, any timepiece. Purchase any item valued at $10,000 or more and receive a stunning diamond tennis bracelet at no extra cost. Every purchase of $10,000 or more qualifies. So hurry into Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet ends June 30th. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending in Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
Get ready for a night full of big fights and big action. It's UFC 303, and it can be even bigger. Jump in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. The light heavyweight title is on the line in the main event, but there are so many more amazing matchups happening in Vegas. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. The betting options feel endless on DraftKings. And speaking of amazing, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code TIMD. That's TIMD with no spaces for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Get that big fight feel only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at dkng.co/MMA.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh, you mean like when I let someone with less groceries go ahead in line? Sure, there's a part of me that thinks, if you only need 3 things, maybe go to a convenience store next time. And now they're sifting through coupons and my frozen foods are about to be not frozen.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Graham continues his run because the producers choose all our rejoin music. Continues his run as the oldest soul of a 25-year-old when it comes to music taste.
I take great honor in it.
Dennis comes back and we get all the new pop hits. We get all the newer stuff. Graham shows up. We get the classics.
You're going to get a little bit of that tomorrow just because I got prepared for where I'm going Thursday for Maroon 5 in Charlotte. So
you're going to see Maroon 5?
Yeah, you'll get a little more pop culture tomorrow just to fit the theme. So take warning.
Big Maroon 5 fan?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Actually.
All right.
I am. I grew up on songs about Jane.
I don't know what that means. That's an album?
They're like album that pretty much blew up their success.
The Sunday morning one?
Debut album.
Okay.
Debut album.
All right.
I'd say it won't be long before too long. Kind of jump-started the whole.
See, because I have a little bit of media stuff, like I can edit videos and stuff a little bit, very rudimentary. I make wedding videos for like my family members, and they're like, it's basically like a souped-up slideshow with a little narration, little music.
Right.
And
how many times was "She Will Be Loved" requested to?
Sugar.
Okay.
Sugar was in the one for my brother and my sister-in-law. And because when you're editing something, you listen to the song a lot, right? Because you got to play, you got to make sure everything lines up, and then you do some editing, then you got to play it, make sure everything lines up, then you do some editing, you got to play it. I cannot listen to that song anymore without like.
Well, hold on.
Crazy.
Let me go to my Spotify
no.
real quick. And,
Absolutely not. None of it.
Add to playlist show bumpins. All right, there we go.
Oh, for next time. I thought you were going to play it now. Let's go ahead and talk U.S. Olympic trials. That's what you play. There we go. There we go. There's some music I can get down with. I don't know. Like, actually, this is a good, like, if you have feedback for next Feedback Frenzy, this is a good one to have. If you think there is such thing as too much Olympic coverage, championing the United States of America on the Olympic stage, you better let me know now, because I'm liable to go all the way in. I'm liable to go all the way in.
USA.
I mean,
USA.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will. I got them all. I can chant for days. Athing Mu, have you heard about this one? U.S. Olympic trials.
22 years old.
She fell during the Olympic trials.
Oh no.
She's the defending Olympic 800-meter champion. She won the Olympics at 18 years old, and she's not going to get a chance to defend it at 22, which means we could be missing out on like a 3 or 4 Olympic run by an American because she got tangled up and tripped up at the Olympic trials. Her coach has already logged a protest, but I don't know what the likelihood of that is. That's a brutal miss here, everybody.
And she's 22 currently, and you said she's already won one Olympic gold medal,
yes.
So she won it at 18?
Yes.
Wow.
Which means if she won until she was like 30, that'd be 18, 22, 26. That could be 4 straight. We might be missing out on an all-timer here because she tripped at the Olympic trials. I feel like if you are the defending gold medalist, you should get one like redo where you're just like, hey, last person to make it onto the team and me, we get to race off one time. Like wrestling teams do this, right? Where it's like the night before a match, you're like, I'd like to wrestle off for the 156, and then you get to go wrestle, and whichever one wins gets to, I think, like, I don't know, it just feels like we missed an opportunity here.
We're ruining a legacy that we could have started that was starting right before our eyes.
Starting a new legacy, Coco Gauff, women's tennis. She gets to go lead the United States team in tennis to the Olympics. She's, I think, the second-ranked tennis player in the world. You want to know why that's awesome? Do you remember where we were during the last Olympics?
In our house.
In the middle of COVID. She qualified to go to the Olympics last time, and days before the Olympics, positive COVID test. She didn't get to go.
Oh, no.
I'm just glad now that she gets to go that that's not going to hang over her head for the rest of her life. One of the kids, a kid I grew up with, and this is actually going to tie into the next one. I was on like a middle school basketball team with him. Is the best beach volleyball player in America. His name is Taylor Crabb. He was qualified to be an Olympian last time. Tested positive, didn't get to go play due to COVID. Remember that individual, okay? Because I'm gonna bring this back.
Taylor Crabb, okay.
Golfers. Colin Morikawa going for the United States. Wyndham Clark, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele going for the United States. Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka not getting the opportunity to go because the tour they play on, the LIV Tour, doesn't get official World Golf Ranking points, and official World Golf Rankings is how they decide who gets to go for Team USA. There's some upsetness about this. There's some people that think Bryson should be able to go because he's playing like one of the 4 best Americans in the world.
And, he won a thing called the U.S. Open.
I have no problem with him not going. You know how to qualify for the Olympics. You chose not to do it. You don't get to cry about not going to the Olympics.
Ooh.
Enter Taylor Crabb. Taylor Crabb is the best American beach volleyball player, okay? He's not going to the Olympics. He qualified for the Olympics last time, got COVID, didn't get to go. He's the best American beach volleyball player. He doesn't get to go this time. Do you know why? Because it's a tedious process to qualify for the Olympics in beach volleyball. You have to go play specific tournaments in Europe. You have to qualify using a specific path and win tournaments and accrue points. And guess what? Those tournaments that they make you play don't bring in the most money. Oftentimes you're playing in front of 100 or 200 people in the final. Alternatively, you can go play tournaments in California and Austin, Texas, and you can go play tournaments in Florida, and you can make a bunch of money. So he and his partner simply decided, we're not going to go play in those overseas tournaments to qualify for the Olympics. We're going to make our money so they don't get to go to the Olympics. They made a choice. Well, guess what? You want to qualify for the Olympics in golf, you have to play in tournaments that get official world golf ranking points. Bryson DeChambeau took over $100 million to go play LIV, just like the volleyball players that chose to play in the other tournaments. If you want to play in the Olympics, you have to qualify for the Olympics. It's not like they changed the categories, right? It's not like they were like, never mind, we're only taking into account. No, it's always been official world golf ranking points. When you went to LIV, you chose not to get those. So Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, you don't get to go. It's not our fault. It's yours. So if you think you would have been the difference between America winning the medals and not winning the medals, guess what? It's your fault. It's not ours. It's not the people that set the parameters. The parameters were set. You took the LIV money. You robbed yourself of a chance to go to the Olympics, and if you think you're one of the 4 best players, you may have robbed the chance of the United States to be on the podium. That's another bummer of playing for LIV. I wish you stayed, and then you might go, and then you'd be one of the best Americans. Then you'd get to go play in the Olympics, and you might bring home a medal for our country. And if you can't tell, kind of into that sort of thing. Also, Quincy Wilson finished 6th. He's a 16-year-old in the 800-meter. That does make him part of the pool for the 4x400. Might have a 16-year-old running at the Olympics for the United States.
That's insane.
16 years old.
How you doing, sir?
Nice to meet you, mister.
Happy to be here, gentlemen.
Eat my dust. Pretty cool. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close. To start Overdrive, we're asking the question from our series of 99 questions about the college football season from earlier today involving NFL players and how they are produced at the schools in the Triangle, NC State, Duke, and North Carolina. So that'll be coming up to start Overdrive. There will also be some conversation about $650 million going to David Tepper. Rich get richer, quite literally, right? The rich get richer. So that's all coming up in Overdrive. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. There's once again Graham with his old soul music taste. Get Rod Brindamore in the hall. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy Overdrive, and we'll be back at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. I'm talking no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make that happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes. With almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle, you could get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval, it's just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760.